part of the team. I do this for all the naysayers and haters who made me one of the greatest. I know it kills you inside, that's why I do this for you. I do this for my father, who I've only seen from time to time in my dreams. I do this for you. I do this for my mother, who's finally clean, no longer a fan. I do this for you. I do this for my sister, my wife and my kids, cause they part of the team. I do this for all the naysayers and haters who made me one of the greatest. I know it kills you inside, that's why I do this for you.
I do this for the kids who sit a bit outside the mix, who maybe cope through humor just to fit in for a bit, who never let the world know when depression's setting in. To all of those who know you, that impression don't exist, and it ain't counterfeit, it's just a way to counter it. I'm living things I dreamed about, I still encounter it. It ain't something that a cigarette or alcohol can fix, but all because of it, I flipped it quick, went on to write some hits. This a success, off another breath. This the first step in searching to be nothing less than be the best in what you do to prove their strength in being you. Learn so much in chasing dreams that I never would in school. Depends on where your passion lie, just no passion never lie. Life presents distractions, but your actions have to fortify the things that you believe in. Have to scream it like a battle cry and leave the ones who didn't looking stupid while they're asking why. Couldn't lie, I really do this for the ones I love. Those who treat the music as a vice and lyrics like a drug. Those who need advice on how to lift their spirit high enough to break out of the box they make of lives they know aren't good enough. Just because it's how it is don't mean it's how it has to be. This is what the uninspired testifiers fail to see. Jealousy results from being that which others fail to be, and if it means you're not with me, that honestly sounds fair to me.
I do this for my father, who I've only seen from time to time in my dreams. I do this for you. I do this for my mother, who's finally clean, no longer a fan. I do this for you. I do this for my sister, my wife and my kids, cause they part of the team. I do this for all the naysayers and haters who made me one of the greatest. I know it kills you inside, that's why I do this for you.
Do this for my mother, she'll be working for the summer. Do this for my father, cause these days I often wonder what my life would have been like if I was not adopted. To grow up in a home where I was treated like a problem. I don't know, it's just a guess. Your guess probably good as mine. Lucky that I grew up in a home that wanted me to shine. Lucky that I grew up around some mountains we were taught to climb. Without that inspiration, I don't think that this would be my life. Do this for my friends who've scattered all across the country now. I'm out in Sweden walking back through life so I can write it down. Make a living off the sound, so crazy to say out loud. I'm the biggest thing since Travis Rice to come up out the town. Sorry, gotta stunt a little. Used to have my dreams belittled, but it's all a part of it. I know people's minds are fickle, lines between reality and dreams I blur like faded nights. Come up been so good for me, I wish that I could make it twice.
I do this for my father, who I've only seen from time to time in my dreams. I do this for you. I do this for my mother, who's finally clean, no longer a fan. I do this for you. I do this for my sister, my wife and my kids, cause they part of the team. I do this for all the naysayers and haters who made me one of the greatest. I know it kills you inside, that's why I do this for you.
Everybody for being here tonight. Shout out to Abstract for always getting us started. Let me turn my mic up slightly. I just want to make sure you guys can hear me. Thanks for being here tonight, guys. I really appreciate it. It's nice to see everybody every night. You know, we all do this for whoever we do it for. It's just a part of the way we get down. Hey, Ash is a little upset tonight. She's a little agitated, so I want to apologize first and foremost. If she starts barking and losing her mind, I might have to step away and put her in her place. Just a reminder who runs this show. But shout out to everybody for being here. Thank you guys for getting here early. You got your questions in. We'll start attacking it and getting after it. I obviously go over things that are trending initially. Then I get to your questions. You guys know the deal. You drive this show, right? You drive it. You ask me the questions. I answer. It's all off the cuff. Nothing scripted. Nothing. I don't even know what you're going to ask. Sometimes I have the answer. Sometimes I don't. I try my best, though. That's all I can tell you. I try my best. So, speaking of trying their best, I'm going to go straight to the transfer portal today before we get started, and I'm going to talk about this new addition to the transfer portal here. Latrell McCutchen. Latrell McCutchen is jumping in the transfer portal. This is a defensive back. I apologize. Ash is still upset. This is a defensive back from USC hitting the transfer portal, and he's going to leave. Now, listen, guys. He is not a bad player. He just realized I'm not going to be playing as much as I thought I was. I'm probably not in the 2 deep anymore. And this is a guy who played last season. he contributed. He was on the field. I think 22 tackles, something like that. This is a guy he's from Texas. So coming out of high school, he went to Oklahoma. He was playing at Oklahoma with Lincoln Riley. And he played a little bit as a true freshman, but he was one of those prized true freshman recruits, and he transfers with Lincoln Riley to USC. Now, obviously USC got huge upgrades in the defensive backfield. They got some in recruiting. They got some in the transfer portal. And Latrell McCutchen is like, man, I'm not seeing the field as much as I thought I would. So now he hits the transfer portal. But he took a little while to get there, right? It's late in the season, but he's still hitting it. Now, he finished his semester's worth of classes. So wherever he goes, he's got a couple of weeks before he gets there. Here's what I'll say, though. I think he's going to a Texas school, and I think it's going to be a smaller one. Texas State, UTSA, something like that. Obviously, money talks. There's going to be schools out there that offer NIL deals out the wazoo, collective deals, whatever it is. But Latrell McCutchen, to me, comes across as a guy that's perfect for Texas State, perfect for UTSA, possibly Texas Tech, Houston, but definitely not Texas or A&M. I just think he would not see the field. If he does go to one of those schools, guys, that's just another Power 5 to Power 5 transfer and a young man not being realistic about his talent level and how he can contribute to the field. But more power to him. The only newest addition to the portal today. Shout out to Latrell McCutchen. It is what it is. Good luck, brother. Hey, there was a parade today. Did you guys see this parade? Did anybody see this parade? I got news for you. If you didn't see it, you didn't miss much, bruh. What kind of parade is this? I mean, I've seen the Lakers parades. I've seen parades when teams win the title, and it doesn't look like this, bruh. There's more bicyclists than there are people on these buses. Like, I see more people on the bikes. Now, they tell me those are the police officers. They're the security. Why do you need security? I've seen more people at a parade during Christmas time in my hometown. I shit you not. I don't care if this was a part of the parade where there wasn't a lot of people. I don't care if this was... No, dude, this is an NBA championship city. How do you not have people at the parade? Everybody went to work? That is absurd, bro. There's not... What is this? I've seen more people at a Disneyland parade. And that shit's every day. This is crazy. That's your parade? I'm counting like a dozen people on the side there. Oh, my goodness. I can hear one person cheering and clapping. Somebody hit somebody's wife with a beer. But tell me how Denver doesn't know how to party, bro. Denver ain't doing it right. I'm just letting you know, Denver's not doing it right. And before I get to the chat, hey, guys, CTE is real. I want to just say this right now. CTE is real. Okay? If you didn't know it's real, just talk to Antonio Brown or watch one of his interviews. Watch one of his interviews. This man is suffering from CTE like you wouldn't believe. They don't even realize it. He doesn't realize it. But CTE is real. So his team gets kicked out of the Arena League. They weren't paying their fine. They weren't paying their fees. They got kicked out of the league. Antonio Brown was doing an interview, just started ripping all the other owners. He's an owner, by the way, of one of the teams. His team is kicked out. They fined him $1,000. He refused to pay the fine for saying disparaging remarks about other owners. He said that the other owners didn't have enough money to own a team. He was saying some ridiculous stuff, but this man is off his rocker. Okay? I don't want to ever see this man play football again. I think he needs help. I think there's problems. He's lost it all, guys. The only thing he has going for him right now is Giselle. At least he has Giselle. At least he has Giselle. Deep down inside, at least he's got himself a nice supermodel by his side. And that's a joke. Don't take it serious, you guys. Hey, I want to just tell you guys. Coach Prime, he had to miss a camp today. All jokes aside, he may potentially be losing his foot. I've seen some pretty gnarly photos. I don't want to put them on here because they keep limiting my streams and my advertising out of something called ad suitability. Some of the topics I talk about, some of the things I say, it triggers in their little algorithm, their little robots. So we're just going to not put any graphic photos or say anything adult-like. But I'll just say that Coach Prime, I think he may be losing his foot. He had loss of feeling in his foot. It was numb, and they had to go do some additional medical procedures, and we're going there. So before I go on with what else is trending, I want to remind everybody the theme of the show tonight is I will be discussing my preseason top 25. I put out my top 25 on TikTok earlier today, and people lost their minds. People were attacking me, but all those people who had something to say about it don't put in nearly the amount of work that I do. So I don't like to hear anything they have to say. Like, instead of just complaining about it, don't complain about my top 25. Here's what you do. It's TikTok, bro. It's an app. It's YouTube. Get your phone, make a video, and give everybody your top 25. And see how many people are rocking with you. Like, if you know more about college football than me, and you know more about rankings and players, and you're so great at this job, just make a video and start talking and see how many people rock with it. That's exactly what I did. That's how I got started, just giving sports takes. I didn't go around telling people you don't know anything about sports. Here's what I think. I didn't do that. I didn't go on people's pages negative recruiting. I didn't go on people's pages saying how terrible they were. I didn't do that. I just went on my page and just made videos and just started talking. Said, hey, guys, here's my top this, here's my top that. Hey, you know what I think about this? You know what? And little by little, you make believers out of people if you know what you're talking about, right? So my suggestion to every single person who doesn't like my top 25 is go make your own. One guy wrote, this is complete horse shit. My son could do better than this. Da-da-da. And I was like, bro, just make a list. Just make a list. Show it to your son. Make sure he vets it. Make sure he approves. And then post it on the internet and see who else is rocking with it. I got to live with my takes. I can't change my mind. I was sitting here and I was going, man, I think K-State's probably 25th. I think K-State belongs in my top 25. Preseason top 25, maybe K-State. But it is what, what are we going to do? How do we change our mind? We don't. We have conviction and we stick with what we did. Now, it's a preseason poll. I'll change my polls every week. Some people don't understand. Some people don't understand. I got a guy on TikTok saying, what are you looking at? Hey, buddy, not you. I'm not looking at you. I'm looking at everybody on YouTube that watches my live stream every single day, comes through, and rocks with my top 25. And rocks with what I'm saying and doing. Do you, boo-boo. Do you, boo-boo. All right. So we're going to leave this up for a little bit, and let's go talking to you guys. Let's read the chat, and then I'll catch back up on what's trending. I appreciate everybody for being here. Let's go. Welcome in, everybody. Tonight should be fire. Sub and like. Also, only need to ask questions once. Thank you very much. We'll get rolling at the top of the hour. Thank you, Steve. Steve's the best, man. Steve is one hell of a consistent administrator, and I appreciate it. A great mod. Is it moderator? Yeah, great mod. I have Kim as well, Kim Jones. And I think I want to add Hibiscus when I see her. She's here all the time. She'll be a great backup in case Kim Jones can't make it on a particular night. Would it be like? Hit that like, yo. Hey, shout out to Willie Bobo. Willie Bobo, I don't know how old he is, but this man is here all the time. I know he takes naps. He said he took a nap, and that's why he missed the start of the show yesterday. I got to imagine you got to be pretty old to be taking naps at 7 p.m., waking up at 8:15 p.m. A nap at that time, it just doesn't sound like something younger people would do. I don't know. I never took naps before going to the club, bro. I was just ready. I started getting ready early. I think I was spraying cologne by 7:30. Do you think Colorado will make it in the top 25 sometime this year? T, my gut tells me they won't. My gut tells me they won't. They obviously won't be in the preseason poll, right? Nothing they've done warrants top 25 preseason poll. So that's number one. And then you got your first game of the year against TCU. Now, if they win the game, they're getting ranked, bro. If they beat TCU, they're getting ranked. If they lose within 7, they're going to receive votes. They're going to receive votes because TCU is highly respected. Now, they're not highly respected by me. I don't have TCU in my top 25 for a reason. I think TCU lost way too many people to even be up there. Like, I truly feel TCU is the biggest fraud of all the top 25 teams last season, especially the top 10 teams. So it's just how I really feel. That championship game should tell you how good TCU is, right? Missouri's better than TCU. Just letting you know. But if Colorado wins that first game, I think they get ranked. And if they don't, if they beat Nebraska and then Colorado State, that's 2 wins in a row. You'll be 2-1 going into Oregon. I think they would love to say Oregon's playing a ranked team, and for that week, they get ranked. Now, Oregon and USC back-to-back, you better stop it. You better stop it. From that point, it's an uphill battle. If they're respectable in both losses, if they show up and play well in those 2 losses, they got a shot, brother. They got a shot to be ranked. But, no, their best shot is the first week. Winning that first week should get them there if they're going to get there at all. Personally, don't see it. I don't, to be a ranked team, you got to have 10 wins at the end of the season, essentially, right? 10 wins at the end of the season. That's pretty much the standard. I don't see it. So at what point? It looks rough, especially early on. It's not like they have the Kentucky schedule. Have you seen Kentucky's first 3 games? Kentucky opens the season with Ball State, Eastern Kentucky, and then Akron. Okay? Kentucky opens with Ball State, Eastern Kentucky, and Akron. I've never seen an easier start of a schedule in my life from a Power 5 team. That is an absurdly ridiculous schedule for a Power 5 team. And that's their first 3 games of the season. And then they play Vanderbilt on the road. Vanderbilt, it's a charity school, bro. I don't understand it. Lewis Henton, give me a peace and a fire. What up, brother? Hey, RTR, does that stand for Roll Tide Roll? And then you got some elephants for Republicans? Okay, I got you, bro. Shout out to the Alabama fans for being here. Thoughts on LSU this season? I'm going to get to LSU when I start talking about the top 25. I'm going to do 5 teams at a time. So I will get with you guys on that. You'll know in a few. Made it back. What up, John Bryan? We ain't seen you in a minute, man. Mr. 2 first names, John Bryan here. Thanks for being here. What's FSU's ceiling? Well, their ceiling, Brett, their ceiling is the national championship. Their ceiling is the national championship. Now, are they going to do it? I don't know. But you're in a Power 5 conference. You're one of the favorites to win a Power 5 conference. You're going to get an invite to the playoffs if you get it, right? And then you win. Your ceiling is the national championship. That's your ceiling. I know they are nowhere near the top 25. What do you think about the New Mexico Lobos? Shout out to you, URL Lamb, the New Mexico Lobos. Their new head coach. What's his name? What's his name? What's his face? Is it Alvarez? Is it the Hispanic dude? New Mexico. Look at this. I've looked up their coaching staff before. It's purple. Danny Gonzalez. How long's Danny been there? He's been there 3-4 years. When did Danny get there? What's the date on this? 23. 4th season. Okay. They finally figured something out in their 4th season. And you know what it is? We can't recruit people to come to New Mexico. But my goodness, can we get the transfer portal players to get here? When you have a substandard season, it's really hard to convince high school players to want to go there. High school players don't care. They look at how bad you're playing. They're like, nah, we don't want in. Nah, we're cool. We're going to go to a winning team. It's really hard to recruit high school players with a losing record. But transfer portal players? Transfer portal players love losing records. They want to go to losing teams all over the place because that means I can see the field. That means I'm going to get to play. New Mexico's transfer portal class is so good. So good. For who they are and what they are, I think they got 8 Power 5 transfers to New Mexico. They got 3 guys from TCU. I know they got 3 guys in the secondary from TCU. I really like New Mexico and their trajectory because they're utilizing the transfer portal. Now, slim pickings, bro. I don't see how they win more games, though. Right? You're in the Mountain West. There's some really good teams that are recruiting much better and doing just as well in the transfer portal. But that's where coaching comes in. That's where development comes in. They're a feel-good story. I just don't see them winning much. They're not like New Mexico State is going to win. They got a great coach in Jerry Kill. They did well in the transfer portal. New Mexico State won a bowl game. New Mexico State's a little different on the trajectory, which is nuts saying that about Las Cruces, but it's real. It's really happening. So, yeah, New Mexico, I'm cool with it, bro, but you're going to be out there for a while. Ash, can you please calm down? Come here. Come here. Thank you. Can you come here? Which state produced, pop quiz, Rico, which state produced the best pass rushers ever? Sean Ruffner, I don't know what you mean. I don't know if you mean in the NFL, in college, in high school. I don't know what you're trying to ask me. I don't. I apologize. No. Thank you, good sir. Oh, what up, Twitch? What up, Twitch? And a hand salute. Hey, man, I've never seen a salute, these salutes from the emojis. That's pretty cool. Just want to give myself a shout out. What up, Willie Bobo? You and Snoop Dogg together. Thoughts on Billy Napier? Sunbelt Billy Napier, great coach. I like him as a coach. I think Florida fans are impatient. I think SEC fans are rude and boo and cheer against other people. I don't get it, but I like everything Billy Napier's doing. Dan Mullen did not recruit well, and the only gripe or the only issue I have with Billy Napier is in this spring transfer portal cycle, he did not get a lot of players, and he should have. But they were vetting players too slowly. They weren't getting players on campus to get visits. They only got one player in the door to go get a visit. It was the defensive back, the safety. And the one guy they got in the door, he actually committed. But everybody else, they just took too long. Admissions office. The admissions office is taking too long to clear players to get them approved and say that they can come to Florida. So I like Billy Napier, but his hands are tied. Sometimes that administration is just doing it too slow. It also doesn't help that one of his quarterbacks, got caught scoping elementary schools. It really didn't help. Me and Rico finally agreeing on something. The number one team in the country is Michigan. Shout out to my burner account. I didn't do it intentionally, and the fact that you and I only agree on one thing should tell you your sports knowledge. Your sports knowledge and your acumen is probably not up to par if you only agree with me on one thing. I'm just letting you know. Any hope for UCF this year? Yeah, there's hope. I say they win about 8 games. 7 to 9 games sounds right. 8 plus or minus 1. I like John Rice Plumlee. He's a good player. I like a lot of the things they're doing. So, yeah, UCF looks good. He's from Friday Night Tykes. I don't know who you're talking about, Brent. Who's from Friday Night Tykes TV show? Who's he? I drew a blank. I don't know what we're talking about. Latrell got torched versus Texas when he was on OU. Yeah, it happens. Defensive backs get beat. There's touchdowns. That's what happens at corner, right? If you get beat on an offensive line, if you get beat, quarterback gets sacked. As a DB, you get beat, somebody scores a touchdown. That happens. Latrell was on Friday Night Tykes. Oh, okay. I didn't know that. I don't even know what Friday Night Tykes is. I think Latrell was a Texas commit at one point. Probably. A lot of these guys in the transfer portal were commits to very big schools, and then they end up at Group of 5 schools or FCS schools. Just a fact. There's some guys out there right now. I saw a guy recently in the portal, and his offers coming out of high school were Miami, were Alabama, Georgia, and he went to FIU, and then he left FIU, and he's got nowhere to go. You chose FIU, defensive tackle. Yeah, just recently. Meow. What up, Yunky Chunky? You got me meowing, bro? He's going to TCU. Okay. Brett says he's going to TCU. Well, that sounds about right. TCU is buns. I'm a Michigan fan. Whoa. TCU is not very good. Sony. Denver, Colorado. That's why. Oh, this parade was something else, huh? That was at a start. You should see the end. It was packed. No. Braden Miller. I should not see the end. I don't care where it started. I don't care what's going on. No part of the parade should be that sparse. No part of the parade should be that sparse. I see local county parades with more people at certain parts and it never being that sparse. No. Don't care. Don't care how packed it was at the end. Looks like a Rams parade. Yeah. Aaron Gordon interviews were hilarious during the parade. Oh, I don't watch interviews. Casey knows how to throw a parade, FYI. Okay. Well, they got to have winning teams, right? We got to have winning teams. They're doing it. Yes, it's right. Also, football fans are far different from basketball fans. Give the Nuggets a break. They're rookies at being champions. Well, this is true. Burfect gave him CTE. Yep. Vontez Burfect gave a lot of guys CTE. But this man is something else. He has Giselle and Tiana Trump. Okay. Don't show it. It's disgusting. Yeah, the foot. I'm not showing the foot. It's pretty bad. I'm not showing the foot. Hey, did you see that? I didn't see it. It's not something I'm really going to talk about either. Shout out to that. Somebody passed away. That's okay. Where am I at now? Casey has 2.3 million in the metro population and had 1 million at the last parade. Okay. Coach Prime's feet violate community guidelines. All feet violate community guidelines. I saw a guy here, bro. I saw a guy here locally was arrested. This man getting arrested for, I want to say, an improper act with a child, whatever. Got out on bail, pulled up to somebody's driveway, a 12-year-old kid, and started sucking on his toes, bro. There's a story out there. It's real. And it happened in this city that I live in. Sick mother effer, bro. Sick mother effer. Yep. I was like, yo, that dude's done. All right. Denver market is small. Kansas City chief market is a whole Midwest. Okay, fair enough. Coach Prime's feet. Yep. I think that was one of the better top 25s. Thank you, Stone Braley. I think it's the best top 25. There's none better. So thank you very much. I appreciate you. Number one better be Georgia. They better earn that. I can't go around giving Georgia number one. K-State will be in the top 25. Yeah, I'll buy that. Is it fair to say Colorado is not top 25? It is 100% fair to say that. Thoughts on Georgia Tech? I like Georgia Tech. I like what Brent Key's doing. I talk about it often. I'm cool with Georgia Tech. They just got to keep going and winning recruiting battles and transfer portal battles. Hit the likes. Thank you, guys. Will Texas beat K-State by 3 touchdowns or 4 touchdowns this year? I don't think they'll beat them by multiple touchdowns. I think they'll beat them, but that's a big ask. He took a nap. He's old. Eric Gonzalez, calm down, bro. Calm down. Does Day Hunter have any offers? So, Beezy, word on the street is Day-Day's going to have to sit out a year because this is his second non-graduate or undergraduate transfer. So he has offers, but nobody wants to. He's getting preferred walk-on offers, and he didn't want to sit anywhere. He's got to have to sit. He can't just show up and get a starting role. So yeah, Day. He said he's waiting to see where he's wanted and all this stuff. I think Day actually has legitimate character concerns. By the way, guys, this is the leading rusher on Liberty last year. Transfer from Hawaii, transferred to Liberty. Good running back, kind of a little scat back. But, man, just a head case. Just somebody who thinks he's better than he is. And I'm not sure that Day should have left Liberty to begin with. He jumped in the portal in the winter, went back, jumped in the portal again. I mean, he has not gone more than 1 year without jumping in the portal. He just constantly just keeps moving. This guy, he would have declared for the draft if he could, I swear. Sorry about that. Bold take, Duke gets an upset week 1. You say bold take, Duke gets an upset or gets upset? Braden Miller, you're going to have to explain to me what you're saying. I openly cheer against KSU, but think they probably like not being in your top 25. It's who they are. Yeah, Steve, and I'm a huge Chris Kleiman fan. I also have a lot of faith in Trayshawn Ward, the new running back, and Will Howard, the quarterback. I do. I like the team. It's just when I made my top 25, I had to go with Duke. That's just the way it goes, and I got to live with it. TCU got some good transfers, though. So, Stone Bradley, you think they got good transfers. I don't. I think they got leftovers from other teams. I'm not impressed with half the transfers TCU got. I studied the transfer portal. TCU's transfer portal class is very underwhelming to me. At the same time, they lost all-time greats from their school. They lost Max Duggan, and their quarterbacks leave a lot to be desired. Even though, like, I know the team. Everybody's going, whoa, Chandler, blah, blah, blah. Nah, I know. Okay? Losing Kendre Miller at running back is not a game. That's a great running back. Losing 2 wide receivers, right? 2 NFL wide receivers, not a game. You're not replacing them with JoJo Earl. You're just not. Trey Sanders at running back, did not get the stamp approval from Nick Saban. If Trey Sanders, if he got the stamp of approval from Nick Saban, he'd be at Colorado right now. He wrote that tweet and said, yo, Unc, give me a scholarship. Yo, Unc, give me a call. Coach Prime, needing players, did not call this man. You know why? Coach Prime had a meeting with Nick Saban and said, hey, how good's that guy? No, you don't want him in your locker room. That's not a guy you put in your locker room. You can't build with that man. Don't take him. And then he goes TCU. You guys got it twisted. TCU was a 4-win team for a reason. They were a 4-win team. Last year, they won about 6 of their games with a second half miracle. The TCU team you saw get blown out in the national championship, That's the caliber of TCU. It's not a game. That's their caliber. And the fact that they lost 8 draft picks, you don't replace 8 draft picks at TCU. You just don't. Nope. They are not him. They are not him. I need people to understand that. And they lost more players in the portal than you think. I studied it. TCU, I'm telling you, I'm going to go crazy and say TCU's not even top 25 at the end of the season. Forget the preseason poll. I don't think TCU's in the top 5 teams in the Big 12. Texas, Oklahoma, Texas Tech, K-State, and Iowa State or Oklahoma State will be better than them. And I left out Kansas. Are we kidding? Kansas is better than them. Yeah, I'm telling you, TCU to me is way down there, bro. Way down there. Blessings to you, my guy. Shout out to you, Jared. Thank you for the $2. Hey, Jared's always tipping me, guys. Jared helps me pay my bills. I appreciate that, man. Thank you to everybody who tips and watches the channel. Shout out to Rico Knows. Thank you very much. Yes, the elephants are for Alabama. I know, Lewis. I'm just giving you a hard time. Social media is huge in today's recruiting. Who are your top 5 social media teams, handles? Recruits are eating this up. So, number 1, social media, number 1 is Ole Miss. Number 1 is Ole Miss. Lane Kiffin and what he does. Number 2, Colorado. 3, give me Lincoln Riley. Those 3 teams, I think, utilize social media the best. Ole Miss. Yeah, Ole Miss, Colorado, USC. Those 3 really stick out to me when it comes to social media. They got it down right. They got it down pat. Those 3. Thoughts on Florida Gators? Hey, man, they're going to be all right. They're going to win 6 games. They got to change their culture. They got to clean out, what's left. And they got to find a quarterback. And they still haven't found one. They didn't have one last year. They won't have one this year. He's up all night playing that new video game, Diablo 4. Willie Bobo's probably playing Diablo 4. I know nothing about it. Y'all give some love to the like button. Yup, it's easy. Thank you very much. Texas Tech has some potential 2 decent quarterbacks. Nope, not 2 decent quarterbacks. 1 really good quarterback and then a backup who's never played. It's not quite the same. Not 2 decent quarterbacks. 1 really good one, and obviously Donovan left. Not sold on the other kid who's in the room, and I get asked about him often. If you're a 5-star recruit, would you choose Texas Longhorns or Florida Gators? Definitely choose Texas Longhorns. Sark has job security. They have a great recruiting class from last year. They have a lot on their team. I look at the Florida Gators, and I just see nothing great. I see nothing remarkable that I would want to be around. And I'm not convinced on Billy Napier's job security or longevity. Would you rather talk to Yoda or breathe like Darth Vader? Neither one. I know nothing about that, Twitch. After what week does Colorado get ranked? Every team that gets ranked loses the week after. After what week does Colorado get ranked? Every team that gets ranked loses the week after. Well, that's not true, Jesse. But, yeah, I don't think Colorado's getting ranked this season. It is what it is. My G, love the streams. Thank you, Blake. I love the support. Thanks for being here, guys. And we got a peace sign by Byron Gray. You think Nebraska is going to be good under Matt Rule? I think they will be. Yes, Stone Braley, I really believe in Matt Rule. It's just going to take them a couple years. It's not going to happen overnight. Is Oregon State losing to Oregon this year? Blunts on Paper podcast, I don't see it, but if people do, more power to them. It's a toss-up. Oregon State has a great running back room. I love everything about Oregon State's running back room. I think they lost some additions on their defense, though. If I'm being real, Oregon State lost both their corners to the NFL. They lost their star middle linebacker to LSU, and they got to make do with what they got. But I think they got a hell of a transfer portal addition on the defensive end that nobody's talking about. It's this guy named Olawasu Oo, some crazy Nigerian name. I can't even remember it. But this is a kid from Houston who in 2020, COVID hindered recruiting like crazy because coaches couldn't go to high schools. Everybody had to recruit via huddle tape. Everybody had to recruit by word of mouth and just text messaging and stuff. You never got to go see these kids. And there was this kid from Houston, so good. And he's a defensive end, and he goes to Wyoming, and he's just great on tape. I've already made 2 videos about him, and I just can't say his name right. I just call him OO. But he's at Oregon State, and I think Oregon State's going to have a great pass rush, and they're going to need it because their DBs aren't that great next year. They just aren't. But great team, great coaching. I love the camaraderie at Oregon State. I think they're really good. I really do. Mid-SEC team, blank writing. The good teams in the conference is out of hand. For sure. For sure, Steve. I can't stand it. I got a Michigan State or I got a Mississippi State fan telling me how great his team is because he's in the SEC, and I don't get it. I don't get it. Why Michigan at number 1? So for me, Michigan at number 1, and I'm going to get into the rankings here in a bit. Let me just I'm going to save that question for later when I talk about the teams, if you don't mind. Okay. Which position group from the transfer portal had the deepest pool of talent that transfers to the Power 5 level? So the answer is wide receiver. There's just so many wide receivers in the transfer portal. There's just an insane amount because every team is recruiting. I bet you didn't know this, but last year there were 21 wide receivers at Alabama. 21. There were some teams with 23 wide receivers. So when you see 5 or 6 wide receivers jump in the transfer portal, they still have like 14 on scholarship. It's insane how many wide receivers. And you want to recruit wide receivers. You can turn them into DBs. You can feed them and turn them into tight ends. You can put them on special teams. You can make them linebackers. Shout out to Diane Henley. Like, there's just so many wide receivers. It's nuts. I can go 100 deep on the wide receiver list in the transfer portal, and you're going to find guys that will be contributing next year on the field. So, yep. And then wide receivers are divas, bro. If you don't throw them the ball enough, they jump in the portal. If they didn't get more than 30 receptions, they want out. They want another team. And it's like, yo, bro, you just scored. Like Trayshawn Holden scored 6 touchdowns at Bama last year. 6 touchdowns. And he left. He's like, nah, man, they keep putting me behind Isaiah Bond. I'm not seeing the field enough. I'm out of here. And he left to Oregon to go play with Bo Nix. Oregon's got themselves a hell of a receiver in Trayshawn Holden. This 6-touchdown kid. Gone. Don't give a shit. So, yeah. Thoughts on UC. Are we talking about Cincinnati? I like Cincinnati a lot if that's who we're talking about. I don't know who UC is, though. You got to be clear. How high would you rank Texas after they win at Alabama week 2? Yeah, put them top 5, bro. Put them top 5. It's warranted. I think all the other teams in the top 5 are going to be winning, though. I think everybody's going to be undefeated at that point in the top 5. But you got to put them right up there with LSU after they beat Florida State. Whoever wins Florida State, LSU should be in the top 5. Whoever wins Alabama, Texas should be in the top 5. That's just how that goes. You live in a prison town. Slow down. I've been watching your videos, and I have learned more and more on college football. It's great. You know, Indecisive Angel, that's my whole point. I'm trying to educate people. Rico knows. You know, some guys talk to me, and they say, hey, I've been a sports fan my entire life. And I've learned more from you in the last 60, 30, 40, 50 days than I knew my entire life. And I'm like, yeah, man. Imagine walking around with all this knowledge and just trying to share it with the masses. Imagine being me. My head hurts. Just imagine living my life one time. It's crazy. Who's OSU's quarterback 1? Are you talking about Ohio State? You guys say OSU, that could be Oklahoma State, Ohio State. Like, I don't know what you're saying. Okay, you put Ohio State just below. Okay, there we go. So McCord's the number 1 guy. There's not much I can say about it. Just McCord is the number 1 guy. Currently watching Jail in background in case anybody was wondering. Okay. I don't know what that's about. Damn, breaking news right now. Ray Lewis' son passed away today. Yeah, okay. It's not a sports-oriented topic to me. It's not sports. It's somebody's personal life, somebody's family life. I'm not too worried about it. Now, Bowie passing away and nobody talking about it, that bugs me. Tori Bowie, former Olympian, former Olympic champion. Tori Bowie passed away while giving birth at home. No one talks about it. That bugs me. My guy Rico, I got a feeling Penn State will be a playoff team. All right, you got a feeling. All right, Black Eyed Peas. This man says he got a feeling that tonight's going to be a great night. Penn State will be a playoff team. For Penn State to be a playoff team, they would have to be better than Ohio State and Michigan. They cannot be the 3rd best team in the Big Ten. And they're going to have to hope some other conference champions lose. They're going to have to be the conference champion and hope others lose because I'm telling you right now, an undefeated SEC champ, an undefeated Pac-12 champ, they're getting in. Undefeated ACC champ, they're getting in. So you can be the conference champ with 2 losses and not be a playoff team. That's why I don't like those comments like that. You can say they're going to be, you said they're going to be a playoff team. What are you saying? You're saying that they're going to go undefeated and all these other teams are going to lose. You can't possibly, you got to start with they're going to win their conference. Just say they're going to win their conference. And that would be a bold statement. But you have to say that. You can't go any further than that because you don't know how other teams are going to do in their conferences. I'll give you an example. Last year, if somebody said Clemson is going to be in the playoffs, that's a bold statement. They won the ACC and didn't go to the playoffs because they didn't know that TCU was going to go on the run they went on. And you don't know which teams are going to go on a run that they're going on to make such a statement about Penn State. Just think about it, okay? Just apply it. They upset Clemson week 1. Duke. Oh, you're saying Duke's going to upset Clemson week 1. To me, that sounds like a very bold statement. Very bold statement. I don't think they match up well. I love Duke. I don't think they match up well. Is MJ Morris not going to start at NC State after last season? No. And it sucks because I really like MJ Morris. And they're not going to start him. They're not going to start him. And they're going to start Armstrong, which I was going to make a video about MJ because I watched spring game, and I watched his huddle film, and I thought, this guy's great. I literally wrote his name down here days ago. I wish I could prove it. Let me see. I think I wrote it down, and I can prove it. But I was on a phone call, and I was watching film, and I had to stop everything I was doing and go, oh, my goodness, this guy looks good. Maybe it was over here. I've got 2 pads of paper here in front of me, guys. And to me, MJ Morris is one of the best quarterbacks in the country no one's talking about. You know, when he was in high school and he didn't make the Elite 11, it was a damn crime. It was a crime. It really was. MJ Morris is that good. He's the backup quarterback at NC State. They brought in Armstrong. I don't believe in Brennan Armstrong at all. And they're going to give him the starting job. He's got a short leash. I don't think he should have any leash. I don't think he should be the starter. So it sucks, man. But shout out to you for knowing that, Breezy. I'm with you. Beezy. TCU lost stud wide receiver and linebacker. No, Steve. They lost the best defensive back, right? They lost one of the best defensive backs in Tomlinson. They lost Avila on the offensive line. They lost a stud linebacker. 2 wide receivers. Darius Davis is so fast, it's insane. Quentin Johnston, right? They lost Kendre Miller. They lost the quarterback. What's his damn name? Duggins? I know his name. You know who I'm talking about. They lost 8 draft picks, bro. 8. They're not replacing those 8 guys. TCU's not that factory. They won 4 games 2 years ago. That's who they are. Watch. Shout out to Sonny Dykes for being a great coach. TCU got lucky last year in several second halves. They were down at halftime in like 6 games. How do you feel about Abe Kamara? He's another West Forsyth product. Sam Stewart, I don't put too much thought into the West Forsyth kids, but shout out to him. Hope he plays well. Hope he does well. I'm sure he'll be on GPB Sports. I'm sure he'll be great. Where'd he go? Not too excited about it. Just let it roll. TCU was 8-win team that snuck into the Natty game. Sure. I understand that about TCU. I'm not high on them this year. Can you talk about LSU at 4 in your preseason 25? Well, let's get started. I'll stop right there, and then I'll start talking about my top 25. So at 25, I have Duke. And let me just pull it up real quick, just in case people are watching and they need to be able to see what team I'm talking about. I'll do this. I'll just put up pictures of Duke like that so you guys know what team I'm talking about. But I'm talking about Duke here. And I have Duke at 25. Riley Leonard. If you don't know who Riley Leonard is, one of the best quarterbacks in the country, led the team in rushing, led the team in passing, just like Drake May, right? Drake May led North Carolina in passing and rushing. Riley Leonard's much the same way. He's just Drake May light. Same conference, doesn't get all the hype as all these other guys, but he was a sophomore. And Riley Leonard can play some football. I'd encourage you guys to go look into Riley Leonard because whenever they ask me who's a dark horse for this, that, or the other, the first name I think of is Riley Leonard. Now, is Duke going to have enough wins for him to be a dark horse for the Heisman? No. But I really like Duke and what they did. And listen, Mike Elko as their head coach, if you don't know who he is the former defensive coordinator at Texas A&M. and he comes over to Duke, he takes the job because, hey, this is a guy that just wants a job. He just wants a head coaching job. And he goes and gets it. More power to him. And he does the best with it. I think he's so good, he might get hired at A&M. Jimbo Fisher goes out and plays like shit or coaches terrible next year. If Jimbo Fisher doesn't do his job, I think Mike Elko is on the short list to get hired, especially if he does well at Duke again this year. They won 9 games last year. They're a really good team. Okay, they won their bowl game. They won huge, and they dominated. But more importantly, when you look at the culture at Duke, it's real. Okay, so Mike Elko, I think he's a candidate for the A&M job. So is Kingsbury. Cliff Kingsbury's a candidate. Joey McGuire. Those 3 stick out to me immensely, unless they go for another huge name I'm not thinking of. But I'm looking at Texas-driven guys that can coach at A&M. If they falter this year, they do another 5-win season, send Jimbo Fisher packing and get Elko up in this joint. Now, transfer portal, Elko got some guys. So I believe in Duke. I've got them at 25. The only debate there is UTSA, North Carolina, K-State, UCLA, and TCU and Tulane. All those teams are great. Probably all fighting for a spot in the top 25, but not on my top 25. And I don't give a shit what anybody thinks. Keeping it real. Okay? At 24, I got Iowa. Now, Iowa football is always in the top 25 if they have a good season, right? They're respected. They're in the top 25. The thing that's significant about Iowa, though, is this upcoming season they actually got offensive transfers. They actually have offensive players. Now, Brian Ferentz, the son of Kirk Ferentz, the head coach. Kirk's the longest tenured coach in America. He's been there for 20 years or so, whatever. And Kirk is an old dude. He needs to go. Got it. His son is not it. His son is terrible. But what are you going to do? You're going to fire coach's son? Apparently not. I think they should. I think they should have found a better offensive coordinator. I look at other teams hiring offensive coordinators. They all got upgrades. Not Iowa. Iowa is going to struggle. Now, Kay McNamara, Eric All, Seth Jones. I think it's Seth Anderson, Seth Jones. Wide receiver coming in. Forgot his whole name. They got a receiver from Ohio State. They got a linebacker. They got a great team. They got great guys in the transfer portal. But Iowa is built by seniority. Iowa doesn't start underclassmen. They make everybody earn their keep to get on the field. But losing 2 stud defensive players to the draft this year, right? 2 stud defensive players to the draft, going to be hard to replace. Riley Moss at corner, the only white corner in the NFL, going to be hard to replace. But I like where Iowa's at. I think they're going to fight in the Big Ten. I think they're right in there in that caliber. They're right underneath the top 3, right? You got Michigan, Ohio State, Penn State, and then you got Iowa, Minnesota, and Wisconsin. Those 3 I respect immensely, and they're all kind of equivalent. So I had to make my choice, Iowa or Minnesota, and I went with Iowa just for having a senior-laden team, a more accomplished quarterback than Athan, but I still like Minnesota a lot, but that's where I'm at on my top 25. So that's why I have Iowa at 24, okay? At 23, I have, speak of the devil, Wisconsin football. I have Wisconsin. At 23, I have Wisconsin, guys. I like Luke Fickell. This is one of the few teams got a new head coach, and it's not like the cupboard was bare. They got a new head coach, but he had a 7-win team. He didn't have to do what Coach Prime did. He didn't have to go in there and clean out, 60 guys, 50 guys, 30 guys. No. They all were very loyal to the previous head coach. I'm forgetting his name, the interim head coach, the defensive back kid. He's great. He's a legend in their school history. I'm drawing a blank right now, and I shouldn't. And I never draw blanks, but I am right now. Man, what was his name? Forgot his name. Strong safety, little tough little white dude. They love him to death there at Wisconsin. But they all had to buy in once Luke Fickell got hired. And it's important that you buy into the coaching staff and what Luke Fickell's doing. Now, Luke Fickell didn't mess around. He brought in his defensive coordinator from Cincinnati, brought in offensive coordinator Phil Longo from North Carolina. Okay, so those are 2 huge pluses that he brought in. And then the transfer portal class is top-notch. And don't forget, they still have number 0 here, Where's number 0? They don't even have him in pictures. Number 0, Braylon Allen. There he is. Number 0, Braylon Allen. This is a 1,200-yard rusher from last season, 11 touchdowns. 1,200-plus yards and 11 touchdowns. Braylon Allen is not to be played with. Jim Leonard's the name I was thinking of. Jim Leonard, the safety. Shout out to TikTok for coming up with it. But, yeah, Jim Leonard was the interim coach. The whole team loved him. And a lot of players were upset. If you go on Twitter and look around, players did not want him gone. But as soon as they hired Luke Fickell, they were like, oh, shit. So I think Luke Fickell inheriting a team that had 7 wins, that had a good winning pedigree, is not a bad thing. You didn't get a locker room of inept players who, like, embrace losing. It's not South Florida. It's not Colorado. It's not Northwestern. It's a team that won 7 games, right? And then you get an upgrade at quarterback because you get rid of Graham Mertz and his 18 attempts ass, and you go and get a real quarterback like Mordecai. You get receivers that can make a difference like C.J. Williams. I'm excited for Wisconsin. I like what they got. I think they're tough. So I put them in my top 25. Shout out to Wisconsin being at 23. 22. This is all potential here. But I feel like the talent level at Arkansas is risen again. This offseason, Arkansas dumped like 30 scholarship players in the portal. They dumped 30 recruiting misses in the portal. They got rid of guys that don't belong on the field anymore. They got rid of Miles Slusher who don't belong on the field. They got rid of injury-prone Catalon. They got rid of guys who can't cut it at Arkansas or in the SEC, and they brought in absolute animals. But the way you win in college football is with a senior quarterback and great defense. A senior quarterback and great defense, and I think they have both of those checked out. They have them figured out as far as I'm concerned. Arkansas at 22 feels right. KJ Jefferson, great quarterback, top 3 quarterback in the SEC as far as I'm concerned. Much more accomplished than Joe Milton. Won't have the stats of Joe Milton, but he's a much better player. Just Joe Milton plays in a better offense. Has a better coaching staff. But don't get it twisted. Sam Pittman knows what he's doing here at Arkansas, and they have a good team. They have a great team. Rocket Sanders, Raheem Sanders, DeBinion as the backup running back. They have good receivers. But KJ Jefferson, the ball's in his hands every single play. And shout out to Jaheim Thomas. I'm getting it on record. I'm getting it on film right now. Jaheim Thomas, the transfer linebacker from Cincinnati, former 4-star player who stayed home to go to Cincinnati, play for Luke Fickell, and wanted to rep his city. He didn't want to leave. He could have gone anywhere. He turned down all kinds of schools to play at Cincinnati. And then his coach leaves, and he goes, all right, I'm going to go chase that bag. And he goes to Arkansas. Guys, he is an NFL linebacker. I've seen him 100 times. Jaheim Thomas, 6'4", 245 pounds, NFL linebacker. I love everything about that kid. Jaheim Thomas, and he's at Arkansas. Just hit the portal. Arkansas got Marquise Gums at tight end. Hey, man, you got to replace Knox. Knox took off to South Carolina. You got to do something. I really like Arkansas's trajectory and what they did. Now, going to triple overtime to beat Kansas isn't good. That's what happened in their bowl game. But if they can do well, they're going to do, it's going to be respected in this ranking. I'm going to go down to 20, so we got 2 more left. Number 21 for me, Texas A&M. It's pretty simple, guys. I put them in the top 25. Last season they were number 6 in the preseason poll, and they fell flat on their face. They were the worst, right? This season, Bobby Petrino, did they hire Bobby Petrino? Who they hire? They hired Bobby Petrino, offensive coordinator, right? They still have Stewart. What a great wide receiver he is. They still have a ton of talented players. They lost about 30 in the transfer portal, but I'm telling you, they got rid of bad eggs, negative people, just toxic behavior. They got rid of a lot of dead weight. And I hope what's left is the cream of the crop. I hope what's left is those great players that they were looking for, those 4- and 5-star hungry dogs that they were looking for, because they got rid of a ton of excess waste. And they need to be better. They need to coach better, play better, look better, feel better. Like, there's some games they played good last year. I think their loss to Alabama, was it 24-20? They played that game great. But then you see them struggling with UMass. You see them losing to App State. Like, I can't get down with this, bro. So this year, A&M needs to come through. They got players. Losing Devin Achane hurts. That's an 1,100-yard rusher, speed demon. But they got running backs. They got another recruiting class worth talking about. So I'm putting them at 21. But you know the deal. K-State should probably be here instead of them. K-State's earned it. K-State's blue collar. They're just a bunch of 3-star guys, though, versus these 5-star guys. So what do we do? I gotta draw the line somewhere, right? That's where I'm at on that. And the last team I'll go over before I get back to the chat here, at number 20, I believe I had Kentucky at 20. So let's go to Kentucky. I believe Kentucky is going to have a better season. They got an upgrade at quarterback. You guys can all talk about Will Levis all you want. That man was atrocious. They got an upgrade on the offensive line at quarterback. The receivers are older, more mature, bigger, stronger, and faster. Barron Brown's a damn professional. Okay, Devin Leary's going to have his way with defenses because he's going to have great weapons. He hasn't had weapons like this before. I just feel like Kentucky's primed to put up some points and play really good. I like Kentucky's chances. I put them at 20. Like I said, they're going to be undefeated for a while. They opened the season with the easiest schedule in the country. There's no way any team should be playing, no Power 5 team should be playing their schedule. Ball State, Eastern Kentucky, who was the third one? Akron. These are atrocious teams, and they're going to stomp them. But then they got to go on, they got at home. They got Florida at home. They got Bama at home. We'll see. I got Kentucky at 20. All right, back to the chat before I keep going. Let's see what we got. Pardon me. Shout out to you guys. Florida is lucky to win 5 games. They really need a quarterback. This is true. Thoughts on the Big Ten's? Wait, am I way up here? I think I'm here. Thoughts on the Big Ten's new conference schedule rotation? Do you worry about lost rivalries due to scheduling? No, J-Lo. I think it's a bunch of BS. I think it's a way to try to rationalize not playing perennial powers every single year. They want to avoid one another, to be honest. They don't want all the best players to play each other. It's what the SEC's doing. It's what the Big Ten's going to do. It's to preserve their brand and make sure some of their teams stay undefeated. It really is. There's no other way to justify it. So it's going to happen, and they're going to do it under the guise of we're trying to keep our rivalries, right? USC needs to play UCLA. Okay, so they need to play UCLA, but they don't need to play Michigan or Ohio State every year. And it's the same thing that the SEC is doing. I just talked about A&M. They've only played Georgia once since they joined the conference. Alabama and Georgia don't play. There's just a ton of teams that don't play each other in the regular season. And the conferences will just look around and go, oh, no, it's because we're rotating. It's because bullshit. You're not rotating seriously. You're not rotating for real. You're just sitting there and blocking out certain games for certain teams. It's garbage. That's how I feel about it. Florida's lucky to win 5 games. Yep. Matt Rule needs to stay in college football. The NFL is too much for him. You know, Zion, I think he's aware of that. So is Greg Schiano and a bunch of other guys. College football, to motivate players, it's really easy in college football. It's not easy to motivate players in the NFL. NFL, those players need to be self-driven and motivate themselves. Right? There's no amount of consequences or punishment you can give them. You can't go, all right, go take a lap or do some sprints or something. No, you've seen it from all these rookies. All these rookies get in the mic. They're getting interviewed right now. All these rookies in minicamp and in the OTAs, and they're like, oh man, they used to, Nick Saban used to kill us at practice. These guys are nice to us. You know why they're nice to you? Because if you aren't in shape, you're not going to be in the NFL long. It's on you to be in shape. It's on you to be accountable and be a professional. It's on you to work out in the off season. In college, it's a little different. The college coach has so much more authority and power and just influence on how you do what you do. This is why we give college coaches credit for developing their players better. When the reality is development of a player is 99% on the player. It is on the player to be developed. You got to want to be developed. You got to put in the work. You got to be lifting the weights, be in the weight room, be in the film room, be in your playbook. It's all on the player. But we always give so much credit to the coaches for developing players when it's really on the player, especially at the collegiate level. It's the same. But we don't even acknowledge it. We're just like, oh, yeah, that coach is really good at developing talent. Yeah, okay. No, bruh. There's some kids that are driven to do it. And if you're not driven to develop your talent, you won't make it in the NFL. You just won't. They get to the NFL, and it's like everybody's talent's equivalent. But you know what makes him better? He knew what you were doing before you did it. You know why he's better than you? He watched tape, and he knew your alignment gave away your route. He knew your alignment and the down and distance gave away your route. It's just like poker, man. You got to read. You're like, hey, man, he keeps doing this. I know he's bluffing. Same thing in football. Watch tape, and learn. Right? I started watching tape on Boston College this year. I was watching Zay Flowers on tape. I literally knew what he was going to run every route. If I was a DB, I'm picking off the pass. After watching tape, I watched 2 games. And I watched Zay Flowers on 2 different games, and I went, oh, my God, I know his route tree. I know what he's going to do right now. It was elementary. It was simple as hell. This is why Boston College only won 3 games last year. This is why they lost to UConn 13-3. They couldn't score. You know why they couldn't score? The offensive scheme at Boston College was atrocious. And I got it off of film. There's no way you can't read those plays off of film. I'm sitting there going, oh. Now, yes, I'm a football coach. I get it. I got a football mind. But I don't think that there's anybody out there who's coaching in the game of football that wouldn't recognize what I saw. It's insane. I even made a video about it. I was like, yo, man, this is crazy. This dude runs 3 routes. Just watch this right here. Yeah, it's nuts. Worst Power 5 schools. Black Muns. I don't know how we're doing this. Worst Power 5 schools at football, or they're the worst schools at educating? They're the worst schools in culture and environment. What do you mean worst Power 5 schools? If you're talking about football performance, going into next season, the worst Power 5 schools are going to be Northwestern, Stanford, Boston College, man, this sucks. I got to go Vandy, and I'm going to miss one, and you guys are all going to go crazy on me about it. And give me Indiana. Those are my 5. Do you think Oklahoma might fade away from the national scene like Nebraska did when they left the Big 12? No, Oklahoma is going to be relevant and in the national scene like you would never believe. Oklahoma is about to join the SEC and have SEC backing. They're going to have SEC on their jersey. They're going to have SEC recruiter budgets. They're going to get accolades and praise from ESPN. They're going to get votes in the coaches poll, whether they deserve it or not. Like every SEC team in the preseason poll, there will be 12 teams of SEC getting votes. Oklahoma will be one of them. Oklahoma will always be relevant and at the top of the totem pole because of them going to the SEC. Once they get SEC recruits, they're going to dominate in the SEC just like Texas will. Okay? That's why when Missouri, who was an average-ass team in the Big 12, transferred to the SEC, they were in the conference title game 2 years in a row. As soon as they got there, they were in the conference game. Conference championships, shout out to Brad Smith. Like everybody's like, what the hell's going on? Missouri, and now they lost, but they were in the title game. This is going to happen. Oklahoma has a great quarterback. And they just got a 5-star quarterback. You know how you get a 5-star quarterback? Tell your guys you're going to the SEC. You will get a 5-star. You know who doesn't have a 5-star quarterback? Florida. This is why they have to hit the transfer portal to find their quarterbacks. But Jackson Arnold, to me, is the best high school quarterback coming out. Jackson Arnold is him. And he's at Oklahoma right now. Going to redshirt, not going to play. Watch. I hope. Hope he redshirts. Jackson Arnold is him. Oklahoma's not going to have a problem. A.J. Stewart, who was the running back tight end coach at Oregon State, was doing great things, left for Baylor this year. Baylor has a hell of a running back room. Yep. Coach Freeze just won the first battle versus Kirby, flipping Joseph Phillips. Let's go, War Damn Eagle. Otis Smith, don't get excited. That kid might change his mind tomorrow. He's gonna flip and flip and flip and flop and flip and flop like some damn sandals. I'm letting you know now. Is Kevin Banks, Texas, a top 5 offensive lineman this year, next season? We'll see. I don't make predictions, Joseph. I don't make predictions like that. Let them play football. Let them figure it out. I've got to go watch the tape. Who do you think does better in the SEC off the bat, Texas or Oklahoma? I think Texas is poised to do better if Ewers comes back. I still think Texas has a better team right now. But they're both going to be relevant. They'll both be very good. They're just going to get better recruits. That's what it comes down to. The best kids in Texas will not be leaving the state of Texas. That's how that goes. They're just not. They're not going to be going to Alabama, Georgia. They don't have to. You want to play in the SEC? You just stay here and you play for our team. You're still going to play in the SEC. That's what's going to happen. Mississippi State wide receiver Rufus Harvey hit the portal. Don't see it, but shout out to you. Look into it. Thank you very much. And Coach Freeze won his first battle versus Saban, flipping Martavius Collins. Okay. Once again, just keep watching these boys flip. I have a hard time trusting Michigan. They always let me down. Lewis Henton, how are they letting you down, bruh? How are they letting you down? They were in the playoffs. There's only 4 teams getting in the playoffs. That's not letting you down. They beat Ohio State 2 years in a row. That's not letting you down. Change your expectations. How does UCLA fare in the Big Ten? They never really competed in the Pac-12. I think they did. Believe they'll be in the bottom of the Big Ten with Rutgers and Maryland. Big Ten home games in the Rose Bowl coming in hot. All right, James Campos. So they are much better than Rutgers and Maryland. UCLA is a top 25 team. UCLA won 10 games last year. They almost won 10 games. They're a top 25 team. UCLA is right up there with Wisconsin, Minnesota, and Iowa. So UCLA's in that echelon. They're not at the top, but they're definitely fighting for 4th, 5th, well, starting next year, 5th and 6th place in the Big Ten. So, no, they're not at the bottom of the Big Ten. They're not with Indiana. They're not with, well, Maryland's actually pretty good, but they're not with Rutgers. Okay, that's not them. They're not with Michigan State. They're good. And Chip Kelly's good. He's a good coach. So, nah, I can't get down with that thought process, but shout out to you. Coach Freeze has already won the battle of the day. Ryan Day is flipping the DB. Okay. Cincinnati. Oh, when you said UC. I believe in Cincinnati. They have an easy schedule this year. Coming to the Big 12. They don't have to play Texas. They don't have to play K-State or Texas Tech. So talk about welcome to the conference, and you got it easy. You don't have to play 3 of the good teams. But there's still work to be done. Emory Jones, Henderson, they have a good team. Satterfield's not somebody you like, but there's work to be done. We'll see what happens. I don't think they're going to be in the top 7 of the Big 12, though. Have you made a college football predictions already? No, I don't make predictions on the playoffs. The reason I don't make predictions on the playoffs, Joseph, I already made it clear. You got to win your conference. There's no reason in trying to predict the playoffs when conference champions don't make it to the playoffs. You know what I'm saying? I could sit here and make predictions to say who's going to win conferences, but it doesn't matter because if you win it with 2 losses, you're not going to the playoffs. Right? How is LSU the best team in the SEC over Georgia? I think LSU is the best team in the SEC over everyone. Not just Georgia, but everyone. LSU has probably the 3rd best quarterback or a top 3 quarterback. Georgia doesn't have any. Carson Beck is not a top 3 quarterback in the SEC by any means. He's never played. Carson Beck could go try out for LSU and be 3rd string. That's number 1. LSU just got Logan Diggs to be their starting running back. Right, this is a 900-yard rusher. Just transferred in. He's better than any running back Georgia has. Hands down. LSU has receivers better than any receivers Georgia has. Georgia and LSU both have great tight ends, by the way. Right? Shout out to Mason Taylor. But LSU has the best player in the SEC in Harold Perkins. Harold Perkins is the truth. LSU's transfer portal class, amazing. Better than any recruiting class. They're going to have starters from that transfer portal class better than any recruiting class. They just got Omar Spikes to transfer in from Oregon State. It's not a game out here. I think LSU is going to have an amazing season next year. I think they're poised to win the whole SEC, and I don't think Georgia is. That's how they're ahead of Georgia. I don't think Georgia's poised to win the SEC. I look at Georgia and I say they don't have a starting quarterback. They don't have a real quarterback to win the conference. You need a senior Latin team and a great quarterback. That's the recipe for winning national titles. 4,000-yard passing quarterbacks. All right? Show me Bryce Young. Show me Stenson Bennett, and then turn around and show me who the fuck they're starting this year. It's not the same. Now, they still have Brock Bowers. They still have a good defense. But when I look at their defense, and guys, I've seen Smile Malden. I've seen all the Georgia players play for 3 or 4 years. Even guys who aren't on the field. I've seen Brock Vandergriff and Gunnar Stockton. I've seen Every guy on their bench. I live in Georgia. I know who's on their team. And people are like, oh, you don't know. They reloaded. No. I do know. They lost 3 great defensive players. And I see no one on offense that I'm afraid of. Not on that team outside of Brock Bowers. They lost an offensive coordinator to the NFL. And if you want to know how good Mike Bobo is as an offensive coordinator, all you need to do is go watch Auburn in 2019. See, everybody forgets how terrible he was at Auburn. And I'm looking at LSU. Brian Kelly's a hell of a coach. He's a good coach. He was getting Notre Dame in the national championship conversation. Notre Dame is not good. Brian Kelly's good. So I like LSU for a lot of reasons. You currently a ranked player in League of Legends. Right now I'm focused on TFT. I'm usually a Diamond 1 TFT player, playing with my son in duos. Ranked-wise, I don't really play much. I'm a gold level player in solo duo. But in TFT, I'm a Diamond 1, so I like playing TFT. Coach Freeze won the battle versus FSU, flipping 5. Okay, Otis Smith. I gotta do this all day long. Why would say Colorado has a top 10 offense in all of college football if they put up 40 points against TCU, Nebraska, and Colorado State? No, not necessarily. No, that's. I think TCU's defense isn't going to be great. Nebraska has a notoriously bad defense, and Colorado State's not worth talking about. No, top offenses in the country: USC, Louisville, Tennessee, Washington. Right off the rip, like those 4 are way better than anything Colorado's going to do. Better than anything Colorado's dreaming of. But I like Colorado's offense. I like their players. You guys just don't understand. Like when you say stuff like that, it doesn't move me, bro. I don't know. This is like saying one of your favorite neighborhood rappers can go out there and be one of the stars, like with Drake or Eminem or any rapper that you like. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to put this into perspective for you. There's just levels to this shit. Like I'm sure they're nice lyrically. I'm sure they're good, but they're not there. It's not the same. Jeff Brom is real. What Jeff Brom's going to do, Ohio State, they have real receivers. Not saying Colorado does. I love Colorado, man. I love everybody they brought in. It's not the same. Penn State has Michigan and Ohio State in their own division. Good luck. Correct. They got an uphill battle. Correct. Won the first battle. There we go. You think the SEC is really that weak of a conference? Makio Phillips, what do you mean a weak of a conference? I think that they're not nearly as strong as they illustrate to society. It has to do with playing 8 conference games. So 8 conference games ensures that your entire conference doesn't lose an extra game. Right? If you played 9 conference games like everybody else, half the conference gets another loss. So right then and there, you're inflating win-loss records. When you inflate win-loss records with 1 extra win on every single one of your teams, like A&M having 5 wins last year, they should have been at 4. Texas at 6 should have been at 5. You know, when you inflate it by just 1 win all across the board, that then inflates your rankings or the amount of teams you have ranked. So now you have 6 teams ranked. That then influences strength of schedule. And strength of schedule will influence the preseason top 25, right? Or top 25 will then influence strength of schedule as well. But all of this ensures that your teams end the season ranked and in bowl games so you can then have more recruiting budget and have more money from the revenue. So you got more bowl teams. You get just 1 extra team a year. Just getting Florida in a bowl game instead of not being bowl eligible. Now they're bowl eligible, right? You do that once for the last 10 years, all that money gets added up, and it just keeps churning out recruiting classes. That's great. But you don't have 5-star quarterbacks. You don't have great offensive coordinators and great quarterback play. You don't. And that's why the conference this year doesn't look nearly as doesn't look nearly as dominant as it usually does. It's because they didn't get the right transfer quarterbacks. They got some scrub-ass transfer quarterbacks, and they just got to develop them better. They got to find them, and they're not right now. So next season, I don't think they're a bad conference. I think they're great. I just said LSU's in the top 4. That's a playoff team. Whoever wins the conference is going to be a playoff team. But to say that they're going to go and there's not going to be a dominant team because, like, Alabama's going to lose 3 games. Alabama would have lost 3 games last year without Bryce Young. They had a Heisman Trophy quarterback who pulled it out and won games that they had no business winning. right? They were supposed to lose to Texas. They would have lost to A&M. They would have lost to Ole Miss. But this man pulled out a miracle for them. Well, what do they got now? They don't have Will Anderson Jr. They don't have Bryce Young. And the replacements are not equivalent. How are they going to pull out those miracle wins? That's all I'm saying. And I see those other teams being better. I think there's a changing of the guard, too. I think Tennessee's relevant. Josh Heupel's real. So somebody's going to get knocked off. Just curious why South Carolina not in your AP poll after having the best wins in the country. GOAT 42, that's just some biased nonsense, but they did have 2 really good wins. I think LSU had some good wins. The reason South Carolina is not in my top 25, though, they lost their leading rusher. They lost their second leading rusher in Jaheim Bell, their starting tight end as well. They lost Gilbert Edmond, one of their best defenders. They literally lost 5 of their best players. And they lost 2 guys to the NFL draft that are worth talking about. So, for me, South Carolina lost so much. And when you look at their transfer portal additions, they're not there. It's not equivalent. So, I can't see South Carolina being as good as they were. Now, do I love what Shane Beamer's doing? Yes, I do. Do I think South Carolina can still knock off a team and win? Yes, I do. But saying that them beating Clemson or them beating Tennessee is the best wins of the country, I just don't see it. Tennessee wasn't that great last year. They want you to think they were, but they weren't. Week 2, they went to overtime with Pitt, and they needed a miracle to beat Pitt in overtime. Tennessee needed a miracle to beat Pitt in overtime, and you guys think they're some world beater. You think they're great. Oh, my God. No, dude. They went to overtime with a team from Pitt who's just an average team in the ACC who wasn't ranked. It's like nobody's paying attention to those Week 2 matchups. Watching LSU lose to Florida State, no one cares. They didn't talk about it. Because it's ESPN, bro. You're not going to hear about it. So, and then when South Carolina does win a game, you're going to hear about it. When they do beat Clemson, you're going to hear about it because they gotta gas this shit up like you wouldn't believe. But they lost their 5 best players in the transfer portal. They lost their 5 best players in the transfer. They also lost that other kid to Oregon. I forgot his name right now. Defensive end. I will take up to that very bold statement and be here if I got it wrong. Braden Miller, I don't know what your bold statement was. What was it? I'm scrolling back up. I don't see it. Maybe it was TCU has 8-win team that snuck into the Natty game. I don't think that's a bold statement. SC. I'm sorry. Let me go back. Chat just jumped on me, y'all. I apologize. There's a lot of chat in here tonight. If you want to see who I got ranked, just go back and watch it again. And rewind it and set it at 1.25 speed. You'll catch up. He graduated from West Forsyth. SC is not top 25 ready yet. South Carolina, LSU is not the best team in the SEC. Okay, Oda Smith. Shout out to you, man. Hey, Oda, go make your own videos, bro. Go give your takes. Ridiculous. TCU dog walks Colorado by 30. Oda Smith. Last year, TCU, with the best team that they've ever had, was up 7-6 in the third quarter. With the best team they've ever had, they were up 7-6. Last year, they didn't win by 30. The team that got to the national championship didn't win by 30. They lost 8 players to the NFL draft, and you think they got better? We know Colorado got better. Colorado flipped the whole roster. Colorado is not a 1-11 team. This Colorado team is like a 6 or 7 win team. So what are you talking about? They're going to get walked by 30. TCU is going to be worse, and Colorado's exponentially better. I think Colorado wins the game outright. Elaborate on LSU. I will. If Texas had a heartbeat on offense last season versus TCU, TCU would have never made the college football playoffs. Yeah, Texas, the only problem is their running back wasn't very good. Texas, their running back wasn't very good. He didn't show up in big games. Go look up Robinson's numbers in big games. Go watch his overtime carry against TCU, against Texas Tech. I say overtime carry because he fumbled on the first carry, and then he didn't show up against TCU. I think he had 15 yards rushing against TCU. Yeah, you got this amazing generational running back, 15 yards in the game that matters. No, Colorado's a whole different team and only lost by 25. Thank you very much. He graduated from West Forsyth. Shout out to the kid. That ain't happening. Colorado will be a dark horse. Watch them upset TCU. I don't think it's an upset. Colorado is full of 2- and 3-star players with a blue chip ratio of 20%. Yeah, so the blue chip ratio doesn't matter anymore. Blue chip ratio doesn't matter anymore, and it will be proven wrong within the next 5 or 10 years. And if you guys don't know the blue chip ratio is how much of your roster is 4 and 5 star players. What you need to understand, Otis Smith, is teams like Florida State, who don't recruit 4 and 5 star players, according to the blue chip roster, they just go and get transfers to do it, right? So, like, you don't know who these players are at Colorado, but they're way better than 4 and 5 star recruits. Way better than 4 and 5 star recruits. I need to make this clear. The players that they brought in the transfer portal are better than a 4-star recruit, better than a 5-star. You say they're 2 and 3 star players, you don't understand. You know, do you get it? Like, who just went? If I go in here and I go like this, and let's go UTSA football stats, and I go to all, and I pull it up, and we go right here to Zachary Franklin. Zachary Franklin, 93 receptions. I'll pull it up for you guys. 93 receptions, 1,100 yards, 15 touchdowns. This is his 3rd year dominating college football. Dominating college football. He's a 2-star kid. Coming out of high school, 2 stars. But Ole Miss wants him desperately, right? So he commits to Ole Miss. Do you think Ole Miss just got a 2-star player so they're not going to win anything? No, he's starting over every 4 and 5 star player in this damn country. You got it twisted, Otis Smith. You don't understand. It's not your stars don't matter anymore when you get to school. The stars are for fans and recruiting services. The stars don't mean shit when you get on the field. You got to be worth it. And this is why when I see a former 5-star player in the transfer portal, it means nothing to me. I go look at his production or lack thereof. Otis Smith, you're in the extreme minority for understanding football when it comes to after getting on campus, your stars don't matter anymore. The fact that the blue chip ratio means anything is because before the transfer portal, you were stuck with who you had. You were stuck with your recruiting classes and your inability to recruit. That is not the case anymore. So when you have a substandard recruiting class, shout out to Florida State, for years upon years, they kept missing in recruiting. Not anymore. They went and got a 5-star running back. He wasn't 5 stars. But I'll tell you right now, when you go watch Trey Benson play, there's no better running back than Trey Benson. Go look at Jordan Travis or Johnny Wilson or Keon Coleman. These are not the recruiting class. These are transfer portal players who showed up. Jared Verse just came from the FCS. Jared Verse passed up a 1st-round grade in the NFL. And he's going to be a problem on the defensive line. You got to understand production and what we're getting here. So, no, there's not 2 and 3 star players. They don't have a single 2 and 3 star player at Colorado. Unless they were in this year's recruiting class. They got rid of all those 2 and 3 star players that couldn't play football. And they brought in grown men from the transfer portal. Like, you can tell me a guy was a 3-star player coming out of high school, but he's been at college for 3 years. He's not a 3-star player anymore. No, he's a 3-year veteran at the collegiate level. He's so much better than any 3-star recruit. 3-star recruits are not developed yet. You don't understand what you're talking about, Otis Smith. I'm glad you're here. I hope you get informed and you just don't sit there with your blinders on. Because the numbers you're writing and your mindset, I've seen a couple of comments from you. You are in that minority of, or in that vast majority of people who don't understand football. And it's a shame because you feel like a fan. It's the off season. You're in here. You're talking sports with a bunch of people. We got 100 people, right? We got 70 here, 40 here. I got 110 people watching this. And we don't know what you're talking about. You're the only one talking like this. You got to understand you're not teaching us anything. I just wish you would go look at some tape and go, oh, man, Alton McCaskill IV was a 3-star player coming out of high school, but he rushed for 900 yards and 16 touchdowns. You might want that guy on your team instead of a 4-star recruit. I'm letting you know. Like, they got a 2-star wide receiver coming in, and you're like, oh, yeah, that guy ain't shit. No, That man scored 15 touchdowns last year, 6'4", 220 pounds. And there's not a 4-star wide receiver in the world that wants to see him, or a 4-star DB that wants to line up against him. Stone Braley, love the stream. Thank you very much. Ivo, Otis Smith, what are you smoking? Look at this. They got you. Otis Smith, please get that hate out your heart. Hating is a disease. Shout out to Zion. He's not hating. He's stating his facts. The projected quarterback for TCU threw 20 times for 111 yards and 0 touchdowns last year's Colorado team. Yeah, he also played great against Baylor 2 years ago. He's just fragile. We know the stats. If he plays like that again, TCU loses by 30 or 40. Yeah, TCU's going to lose, man. I'm convinced. I don't think you are seeing the caliber of talent Colorado brought in. They will be competitive against USC and Oregon. I have them upsetting TCU and beating Nebraska. Yeah, notice he didn't say upsetting Nebraska, because that's not an upset. It's not an upset. Go look. Colorado has 20% blue-chip players on the team. Auburn has 52. Bama has 90. Colorado doesn't stand a chance year one. Okay, Otis Smith, you are misunderstanding how recruiting works. ESPN, On3, 24/7, they just give out percentages and they give out stars. They don't even know these players, man. I point it out every single day. Please come to the channel. Please come in here and learn. They just show up every single day and don't know what's going on. It's crazy. It's crazy. Like, I just saw you right now. Colorado has Shiloh. That's it. And Shiloh is going to be a rotational defensive back at best. And that's an SEC caliber player. That he used to play in the SEC. Not a little bit. The most he's ever played was in the SEC. He played more in the SEC than he did at Jackson State. It's not hate. It's not truth. I'm sorry. What you got to understand is Alabama, they just got Batty at running back. Batty's going to be starting over a number of Auburn running backs. I'm sorry, Auburn. Hugh Freeze just got Batty from South Florida. Batty's a 3-star guy. But now that he's at Auburn and he's starting over all the running backs at Auburn, just him and Hunter are going to be the guys getting the rock. What do you think's happening? Do you think Auburn brought in 3-star guys who aren't going to start over their 4- and 5-star guys? They are. The recruiting stars didn't pan out, bruh. It didn't work out. And don't use Bama as your example. Stop with the Bama comparisons. You're taking a 1-11 Colorado team and you're trying to compare them to a top 5 team. This is why I don't even talk about Colorado in the top 25. You go out there and you just go, oh, they're not Bama. Well, neither is Auburn, and neither is A&M, and neither is Missouri, Kentucky, Ole Miss. None of those are Auburn. Or I'm sorry, none of those are Bama. You don't make sense, bruh. Like, the teams in the SEC aren't Bama. There's only 2 teams in the SEC, 3 at most with LSU. LSU, Bama, Georgia. Everybody else is not Bama. Gross, bro. And you go around, oh, well, this is like saying, well, Northwestern ain't Bama. Northwestern ain't Bama. You sound ridiculous. Rico, I know you don't do predictions, so I'll ask you this. Kansas football, thoughts for this upcoming year, and where do you see them on your preseason poll? And where would they be? So they're not on my preseason poll, Tyler Bone. They're not on my preseason poll, and it's unfortunate. It's just a really stacked field in the Big 12. I thought they upgraded their talent. I like them, but there's only so many teams in the top 25. Otis Smith, that's a brand new team, you freak hater. You're either a TCU or a Nebraska fan. No, he's not. He's an SEC homer. He's an SEC homer. He's not a TCU or Nebraska fan. We shall see when Colorado goes 3-9 or 4-8. I'll be here to say I told you so. So I had Colorado winning 4 games before the spring transfer portal cycle. Now that I've seen everybody they got in the spring and I saw them clean out their roster, I have Colorado winning 6 or 7 games. Remember this, 6 or 7. Because if you win 6, you go to a bowl game. Then they win their bowl game, they win 7. You can't have 5, right? You can't say 5 or 6, but you could say 4. 3 wins is insane. You can say 4. I started with 4. It just means you don't know the roster. It means you didn't study who they added and who they play against. That's all that means. Thoughts on Landry Liddy, quarterback transfer from La Tech to UAB? He is not him. Liam, he will not start for UAB. UAB is going to start this other kid. I forgot his name, but Landry Liddy's actually not that good. I watched him on tape. I think he was at – where was he at before? Was he at Texas State before? I'm thinking of a Lynch. But no, he was at La Tech, and I don't think he was good at La Tech. I watched the tape. And playing in a Sonny Cumbie offense and not being a good quarterback, that's a problem. Now you go play for Trent Dilfer. Shout out to you. But I don't think he's going to be the starter. I saw the spring game, and I wasn't impressed with Landry Liddy. I think he threw a pick 6. If I remember correctly, he threw a pick 6. Who's the other kid they had? I'm forgetting his name right now. I'll know it when I see it. It'll spark me. Otis Smith, be back in a week. Talk to me. Be back week 1. Talk to me. Bro, Colorado not winning more than 4 to 5 games this year. So there we go. There we go. These people don't quite understand what they're seeing, right? Colorado has dogs. How old are you, Otis Smith? They have more than Shiloh. Yeah, Shiloh's not a bona fide starter in the secondary for Colorado. It's a rotation. Why not whole new roster? Whole new roster. Do they have good players? Yes, but they aren't winning more than 4 games, 4 to 5 games. Stone, I'm telling you, 6 to 7. The updated roster for Colorado as of May 25th has CP as a head coach. Blue chip players is at 20%. Go look it up. Does not matter. Otis Smith, that does not matter. You got to start paying attention to the transfer portal. It's going to change everything about blue chip players. It's going to change everything about your percentages and your estimations, Otis Smith. You got it wrong. He probably is a kid trolling for clout. Probably. We'll let it go. Wisconsin is very underrated. By who? By who? I have him in my top 25. Who's underrating him? We respect them. We respect them. Pac-12 and SEC are 2 different conferences that have different styles of play. It's all about passing the ball with great quarterback play in the Pac-12. They don't need Buffalo-heavy front line like SEC. This is true, Chris. The Pac-12 had just as many ranked teams as the SEC. Each conference had 6 ranked teams. They have 6 professional caliber quarterbacks in the Pac-12. I think I count 3 in the SEC at most. So, yeah, it is what it is. I'm a 2-time U.S. Marine Corps Infantry Afghanistan combat vet. Don't get me twisted, my guy. Okay. No, you're not getting blocked. You can stay here and just be wrong. It's cool. Thank you for your services, Oda. But you should know. Yep. You should know. Y'all keep meat riding Dion, and when it's said and done, I'll be here to tell you so. Oda, don't go nowhere, man. Don't go nowhere. These get recorded. They get posted forever. I'm going to put you in my I Am Right video. No problem. See you next season. You'll be in my I Am Right video. You'll be infamous, cuz. You'll be infamous. I have a whole playlist called Beef. You'll be on my beef playlist. You don't have beef with me. Duke at 25, LSU top 5. Stone, the man of weak hell. Otis Smith, I'm not high on Colorado at all. Yeah, Stone is not. I am. A grown man blocking a grown man over a sports debate. What a lame. Okay, guys, let it go. This is the most excited I've been for Arkansas football season in a long time. Last year felt like we would lose games we shouldn't. Yes, Braden Miller, it's true. And they got rid of a lot of those guys. A lot of those guys didn't belong on the field, especially in their secondary. Showing your true colors, your prime hater. Grow up. Yep. Braden, the LSU-Arkansas game was a little too close for my liking. Yeah, that's what I heard. Thomas is a beast. Yep. Okay, now we're talking. Jaheim Thomas is – I don't think he's an upgrade. I think he's a good back-to-back 1,000-yard rusher. We'll see. You lost your running backs coach. He's now the head coach at Kent State. So, I don't know. There's some turnover there. Showing my true boom. I'm being realistic. Blessed to see 4 wins year 1. Yep. If KJ plays, we win. But injury's part of game 2. Hopefully 11 a.m. kickoff. Yep. What's your opinion on Arkansas track and field? Preston, my opinion on Arkansas track and field, shout out to their coach. He just retired. Historic coach. My opinion on Arkansas track and field is that they peaked at the wrong time. And I've talked about this before. Having, on men and women, Aiden Owens and Brittany Wilson, both of them showing up to the national championships and having their worst races ever. It just tells me they overtrained and they didn't peak properly for Arkansas. Then at the same time, their women's 4x4 still rocked it, and they're very deep. They have a lot of great runners. And with the transfer portal, some of these teams are phenomenal. But I like Arkansas track and field as a whole. I watch a ton of it, never miss any of it. So there you go. We are a blue blood track team. There you go. I don't know who we are, but you're with it. Just block them because looking for clout and attention. Chris can't block them. Only 2 people can. Never once did I wish bad luck on anyone, so I don't know where you got that from. Arkansas can't even spell blue blood. Texas A&M doesn't really need a chain to win. They have enough talent. Well, Preston, they need something. They didn't have enough talent last year. It's not talent. They need coaching. Yes, he has 85 players, but Shiloh is the only one on that team. Otis Smith, you sound absolutely ridiculous. You sound ridiculous. Shiloh's going to have a hard time starting on that team. I'm letting you know now. Shiloh's going to have a hard time starting on that team. Coach Prime's already said he is not settling for 4 wins with his current players. If that was the case, he would have kept the players from 2022. Yep. Very good. Very good. I'm very aware. If I bought you a ticket to the Texas-Michigan game in 2024, would you go? Yes, I would go. If somebody bought me a ticket, I'm going, bruh. I have an open invite to a couple of places. Some people want to, they want to, what is it called before the game? Tailgate. The problem with going to a game, guys, is I watch all the games. So I would have to miss games. And then when I say I watch all the games, I need everybody to understand something. On a Saturday, I watch about 8 games. I have one game on each monitor, one on my TV. So I'm watching 3 at a time. And I will watch them at real-time speed. But on Sunday, I pick a different conference every day, and I watch all the games. I go back and watch all the replays. I have them on demand. I have ESPN Plus. I don't care. I will go back and watch all the games. And I'll watch them at like 1.5 speed, 1.25 speed, so I can get the games done in about an hour, skipping commercials, timeouts, whatever. And I watch every single game. And I do this Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then Friday I take a break. I watch them during the day, but in the night I watch high school games. So I do this all week long. It's about 60 games a week. You got to just do about 10 a day. You can do it easy. You can do it if you treat it like a job. And I try to watch every single FBS game. I really do. I put in a really good effort. I'd say if I miss any, it's news to me, but I don't think I do. If I do miss a game, it'll be Army because I don't need to watch Army. But this is what I do for a living, so I watch it all. Somebody just wrote on TikTok, why don't you work? Guys, I get paid to do this. I'm sitting here right now getting paid. I get paid. TikTok pays me for the views. YouTube pays me for the ads. And altogether, I get paid. Shout out to you. You guys can buy the merch. I get paid. This is not a game, bro. This is what I do for a living. So shout out to you guys. And if you're on TikTok and you want to ask me questions, I will not answer them. You got to go over here and put it on YouTube and get in the chat with the rest of them. There's everybody waiting in line. So there you go. If Arkansas and Kentucky played, who do you think would win? In that game, I would like Arkansas. I would like Arkansas in that game. That matchups work out for me in that regard. You should bring fans on live to talk with you also. Black Moans, no, I don't want to debate. I'm not into sports debates. I don't need fans to talk with me and do sports debates. I'm not into arguing. I like to have supporters. I like to give my sports takes and have supporters. Now, if you don't support or rock with what I'm doing, keep it moving, bruh. I'm not sitting here. Could you imagine Stephen A. Smith talking to fans? Could you imagine Jim Rome? Well, Jim Rome gets phone calls. It's a little different. I don't think he's arguing with anybody. It's just people wanting to be clowns and joke around. But Pat McAfee's not taking phone calls. Not all that often. I'm not here to take phone calls. Half these guys can barely talk. I don't want to talk to these guys. And I mean it. I'm just keeping it real. He's finally around coaches that have been doing this at the highest level versus the best teams year one. Difficult head scratching will be a wake-up call. Worst Power 5 school in football has to be UConn. UConn is not in the Power 5, Otis Smith, so calm down. UConn is not in the Power 5. They're an independent school. They're not in a conference. Shout out to you for not knowing that. Congrats. LSU. Okay. What do you think Arizona's ceiling is? I've been loving their trajectory for the past 2 seasons. Their ceiling is probably 5th in the Pac-12. That's their ceiling. I don't think they'll get there. I think somebody's got to lose. Somebody's got to lose. If people really think Colorado can compete with USC, Oregon, UCLA, Utah, Washington State, and Oregon State, you're wrong. Yeah, they're going to beat Washington State. Washington State was not a very good team. They got an FCS quarterback in Cam Ward. They got a new head coach, and they went out and started winning games. The talent level is not comparable, Washington State and Colorado. Colorado's better than Washington State right now. Now, those other teams you just mentioned 4 top 25 teams. USC, Oregon, Utah, and Oregon State. You mentioned 4 top 25 teams. I don't think anybody's worried about beating 4 top 25 teams. But the others, yeah, they can show up and play with them. You have no clue what you're talking about. Arch Manning hype has died down. I got to congratulate him on not being a diva after noticing he wasn't going to be the starter. Well, Chrissy, you go to school. I already told you guys, 5-star quarterbacks don't start their freshman year. Only JT Daniels was the starter outright in the last 5 years. 5-star quarterbacks, JT Daniels, starter outright. Everybody else was redshirting a professional, was redshirting behind a professional. Okay? And then you have Trevor Lawrence. He ended up winning the job halfway through the year over Kelly Bryant. So you got to start by the end of your freshman year. Cade Klubnik beat out DJ Uiagalelei. But You had Bryce Young. He had the red shirt behind Mac Jones. You had Justin Fields had the red shirt behind who's the kid who made him red shirt at Jake Fromm. Then you had C.J. Stroud had a red shirt behind Justin Fields. Like, people had a red shirt. It's normal. 5 stars got a red shirt. I don't want to see them playing, especially if you're behind a professional. So Arch Manning's got a red shirt. Shout out to him. They can, yeah. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Colorado can play with UCLA. That's a done deal. UGA had to have 16-point fourth quarter comeback to beat Missouri last year. Things happen. Yeah, the difference is, Otis Smith, is you don't understand that Colorado is not the 1-11 team that you saw. They're just not. The kids on that team are not 1-11. There are players on Colorado's team that have never had a losing season. Ever. There are players on Colorado's team that have never lost. That means when they get on the field to play against other players, they beat them. I don't give a shit where it's at. They beat them. That means when you line up against Travis Hunter, I don't care who it is, they beat them. And you can talk about how deep some of these rosters are, but only 11 players are on the field at any given time. Your 11 versus my 11, and we win all the time. That's the type of player you're trying to beat. That's the player you're trying to beat. It's not about upsets. I don't even talk about upsets. It's mentality. It's mentality. Oklahoma's 4th-ranked recruiting class is closer to number 12, Penn State, than it is to number 3, Texas. Fair enough. Composite rankings show numbers. Yeah, I'm not worried about 24/7 any of their numbers. Joseph Villion, you guys got to stop going to those websites and believing anything they say. I find 100 errors on each website every single day. 100. More than 100 every single day. Whenever I pull them up in here, go back and watch all my old lives. I pull them up and I go, oh, that's not right. Well, that's an error. That's wrong. They don't know what they're doing. Those rankings aren't right. Don't worry about rankings like that. Look, man, there's a kid named Mikey Matthews, wide receiver. Mikey Matthews went to Utah this year. 3-star kid. Better than everybody. A.J. Green wrote me himself. A.J. Green wrote me directly and told me, yo, Rico, I got a guy on my flag football team better than everybody. He called him Mr. Consistent. A.J. Green writes to me and says, Rico, you need to know my guy, Mikey Matthews, going to Utah, 3-star kid. I said, well, why is he only 3 stars? Well, the recruiting sites don't know what they're doing. This is the best receiver I've seen. Come on now. Come on. And I haven't even done a video on Mikey Matthews. I'm letting you know. Rico, saw your Kirk Cousins take yesterday. It was insane. He's a joke of a player. He's 34. How much longer does he need to win playoff games? He's a glorified stat patter. Al Green, how many quarterbacks do you know are still playing in the NFL at 34? It's not how much longer does he need to play until he wins a playoff game. It's how quality is this man that he can play till he's 34. There are people hoping for a job. How old is Cam right now? How old is Cam Newton and his unemployed ass? You better get it. And Cam Newton's been to a Super Bowl. Won an MVP. He ain't playing anymore. Kirk Cousins is still playing. Don't know. Kirk Cousins is a dog. College. Beat out everybody. Sent Nick Foles packing. You need a transfer, dude. You ain't going to start. Nick Foles goes out there and wastes a whole year of eligibility because he had to transfer. Gets to the pros. Beats out RG3 after the first 3 years. Oh, RG3 got hurt. No. Don't get it twisted. Injuries are part of the bag. Durability is an ability. The best ability is availability. Get at me. Shout out to Kirk Cousins. The SEC West is owned by Auburn, Bama, LSU, plain and simple. You just listed half the teams in the West, bro. What is wrong with you? Texas just beat Oklahoma 49-0. How do you think next year's game will play out? I think it'll be a little closer. Past 5 seasons, OU is 1-4 versus K-State. Yeah, that's true. Ivy-O told you. Oh, well. Hi, I'm a newer college football fan. Can you explain why college athletes would redshirt? I'm kind of unclear on what redshirting does and is for players. From the rough, players will redshirt very rarely by choice nowadays. But what redshirting does, it enables you to save your years of eligibility. When you go to college, it's called you have 5 years to play 4. Meaning you go to school, You have 5 years while you're attending that university to play 4 years of football. Okay? So you can be a student your first year as a freshman and not play football. And then you got 4 years to play. Now, on the football field, you'll still be a freshman the next year. But in school, you're a sophomore. There's academic years, and then there's football eligibility years. And what's important is when you get to school, if you can't start over anybody, if you can't play because you're not good enough, you don't want to waste one of those 4 years. You only have 4 years to play. So what you do is you redshirt. And if you redshirt, you don't waste your 4 years to play. Remember I said you got 5 to play 4? You show up to practice, you start looking around and go, man, I'm not going to see the field. You redshirt. You get 1 more year to develop, lift weights, get bigger, stronger, faster, smarter. You redshirt. And then the next year, now you're going to spend one of your 4 years of eligibility. You just don't want to waste it because you'll be on the bench the whole time. You only got 4 years, so you don't want to be on the bench. That's why people redshirt. They don't want to waste one of their years of eligibility. Oh, by the way, you can play in 4 games now and still redshirt. Before, if you ever saw the field, you lose your redshirt. You don't get to redshirt. You waste a whole year of eligibility. So imagine you only get 2 plays on special teams in a season, and then they take your whole year of eligibility. Now you can only play 3 more years, and then you graduate. Then you're out. Imagine you just wasted it on 2 random-ass plays. You don't want that. So now they let you play 4 games, and you can still redshirt, and you can still play 4 more years. I'm a little old. I'm a little old for years. I have always cheered for them to beat Ohio State, and they would let me down. Okay, and then TCU. Fair enough. Michigan's not letting you down right now, though. Would a big brand school like Texas make the college football playoffs? LSU made a BCS Natty game with 2 losses. It all depends on the other conference championships. LSU made the BCS Natty game with 2 losses, Joseph, because the ESPN bias is real. Because ESPN convinced voters, computers, polls, and the committees that they needed to be in the national title game with 2 losses. That is the greatest tragedy of current modern football. Like modern college football, the biggest issue is that ESPN is not unbiased. The biggest issue is ESPN bought the SEC for $2 billion in 2008. And when they bought the SEC network and they started advocating for the SEC subconsciously, it influenced voters. It got 2 lost teams to the championship. And once you're there, it's a coin flip, right? Once you're there, if you win, you win. If you win, you win. But getting people there and being in the playoffs is such a crime. It's why 2014 TCU was ignored, right? TCU was ignored. They were the best team in the country, and they didn't even get in the playoffs. They finished 5th in the polls. Well, they finished 3rd in the final poll, but they got 5th and didn't get to go to the playoffs. And then they somehow magically passed everybody because TCU was amazing in 2014. If you go look at the Murders Row, the teams they played, and they talk about, well, strength of schedule in the SEC. Well, you ignored strength of schedule in 2014 with TCU. You can go look this up. It's brutal. They played 5 of the top 15 ranked teams in the country in a 7-week series. Like in 7 weeks, they played 5 of the top 15 teams. It was insane. And they still didn't get there. Bro thinks LSU is better than UGA. UGA plays as a team. They don't on talent. Da-da-da-da-da. We got this. We got all the SEC homers in here. Mike Bobo sucks, though. Not going to lie. Shout out to you. This time of the year, Bowers was dunking in the 6th grade. He's absolutely that guy. Yeah, he's a unicorn. He's great. Y'all said that about Bennett. Not a system team. No, the recipe for success at Georgia is pretty simple. Great defense and check down. You can study box scores. You can watch tape. All they do is check down. Check down to a tight end. Check down to a running back out the backfield. But you don't throw to wide receivers. And just play the field position game. And just play great defense. 2021, not 2019. Auburn's offense coordinator in 2019 is now their head coach at Arizona State. I'm very familiar with Kenny Dillingham. I'm very familiar with who you're talking about, Otis Smith. I know the entire history of every team that you're a fan of. Okay? I know your favorite team better than you, bro. That's why I'm here. That's why I exist. I'm Rico Knows. It's not a game. Shout out to you. Brian Kelly was my friend's dad's coach at Central Michigan. My friend's dad was a starting quarterback and ended up being da-da-da-da-da. Speaks very highly of Brian. Brian Kelly's great. I actually would rather be the underdog in the SEC, so thank you. Not everybody can be Mac Dre. Back-to-back and underdogs, that's what I want. I'd rather play 9. Yeah, everybody says they'd rather play 9. We hear it. I keep trying to tell these people, they just won't listen. You answer my question right there. You think a 9-game conference schedule would help the conference. 9-game schedule is going to be very, very bad for the SEC. It will cause teams to lose. Late in the season, you'll have a miracle loss out of nowhere. Missouri will just come out and beat a team and end their whole season. Happens in every conference. Just a team jumps up and wins and beats the perennial power on the week that it matters. It happened to K-State one year. It happened to West Virginia one year when they were going to go to the national championship and they lost to Pitt in the backyard brawl. It just happened, right? It was back in the Big East. Happened to USC with Cal. It's happened to so many teams. It would happen in the SEC, not every year, but it would happen once every 3-4 years. It would ruin one of these chances for one of these teams. It just happens. South Carolina beating Tennessee, right? That type of shit would happen to one of the perennial powers if you played 9 conference games. It would just happen. You think Poirier beats Gaethje? Yeah, I think he's a better fighter. I think Justin Gaethje's just a brick wall of a man. Let me get back to my rankings, guys. I'll get back to you guys on this. Let's go here. So at number, where was I? Oh, I had to go do a search for something else. Number 19 in the preseason polls that I have. Let me go down here. So number 19 for me, I believe I put, was it Ole Miss? I think it was Ole Miss. So the reason I have Ole Miss at 19, it's pretty simple. They were 7-0 at one point last season. They were a really good team. They almost beat Bama. It took a miracle, Herculean effort from Bryce Young to beat them. They did have a terrible, terrible bowl game. And they tried to win that game, but they didn't belong on the same field as Texas Tech. And that's the only reason I have Texas Tech one spot ahead of them, is the last time I saw these two teams play, Texas Tech was better. And I think Ole Miss did well in the offseason. They have one of the best running backs in the country returning in Judkins. They have a great offensive scheme, great offensive-minded coach. They have really good players. They won the transfer portal. They're easily one of the best teams in the transfer portal this offseason. So I like Ole Miss. I put them at 19. At 18, I have Texas Tech. So Texas Tech is no longer that run and shoot, that air raid offense that you're used to seeing from Mike Leach. Joey McGuire is a great coach. If you didn't know, Joey McGuire was an amazing high school coach, and then he got hired by Matt Rule to be the linebackers coach at Baylor. And while he was at Baylor, Matt Rule takes off to the NFL. He keeps that job. Texas Tech decides to make an in-state hire, somebody who knows the pipeline and gets all the best players in Texas, and there you go. They took Joey McGuire, and the rest is history. Joey McGuire is a good coach. He's doing well, but the real key to Texas Tech is their offensive coordinator is Zach Kittley. And Zach Kittley is the guy who had he's from Houston Baptist initially, but he was at Western Kentucky. And you might know Bailey Zappi almost threw for 6,000 yards. It's because of Zach Kittley as the offensive coordinator. And now he's at Texas Tech. And they got Shuck, right? They got Tyler Shuck at quarterback, a senior quarterback. And they got the fastest wide receiver in the transfer portal, one of the fastest. Dre McCray from Austin Peay, FCS level, is so good. Go back and watch tape on Andre McCray. What I'm going to tell you about Dre is DeAndre McCray. When I saw Dre play the very first time, because I don't watch FCS football all that often unless I see a player transferring to the FBS, but I saw Dre McCray against Alabama. And the Alabama-Austin Peay game, I think it's a blowout, obviously. Go back and watch the tape. Dre McCray belongs on the field with these Alabama DBs. He's making them look silly. He ain't worried about Alabama DBs, and Austin Peay knew. They were like, yo, we got one guy on our team that can play with these dudes, and it's Dre McCray. And now he's at Texas Tech. I'm excited to see what they do, but I put them at 19, so shout out to them. At 18, I have – no, 18 was Texas Tech. My bad. 17. Notre Dame. Somebody's mad about this one. They're telling me Notre Dame's much better than this. Let me tell you guys, I think they're going to be disappointed. They have a great running back room. I love everything they're doing in their running back room, and they got Sam Hartman at quarterback. But when I went back and watched the tape on Sam Hartman, I think he's a product of the system at Wake Forest. I don't think it's like a mesh offense, a lot of like drag routes back and forth. And a large part of his production the last 2 years has been A.T. Perry, a 6'5" wide receiver who's now in the NFL, right? He went, what did he get drafted in the 7th round? A.T. Perry's not very fast. A.T. Perry's not very – he's fast once he gets going, but he doesn't accelerate very well. But my goodness, does he have a catch radius. And all those inaccurate passes that Sam Hartman threw, they were straight to A.T. Perry, and A.T. Perry made the catches. Now, they did lose one of their best receivers. He just left to Ohio State. Caleb Smith was supposed to transfer in from Virginia Tech. He's not there. He retired due to injury. And then they lost Logan Diggs, their second best running back, to LSU. I just feel like they lost a lot of star power. But they didn't get much in the transfer portal on the defensive side of the ball. But they're still a good team. And that's why they're in the top 25. So I got them at 17, and I'm sure Notre Dame fans are pissed about it. I don't care. That's how I feel about them. At 16, I have Oklahoma. And a lot of people freaked out on this one. They're like, what warrants this? Why would you put Oklahoma up here? I'm going to tell you guys straight. I believe in what Venables is doing in the transfer portal. I believe in what he's doing in recruiting. And I think it takes a while for a new coach to implement his mindset, his work, and what he does, okay? I like Schmitty, their strength and conditioning coach. He's been there since 1999. And he came back, right? He was there from 99 to 2017. At 2018, he gets hired to go to A&M by Jimbo Fisher, be the strength and conditioning coach. Well, now he's back. And I just think he's got the team bigger, stronger, faster, smarter, all those things. And I really like what Oklahoma looks like. And I say this about all bowl games, guys. Bowl games are a coach's, like, they have two choices when they do bowl games. It's either the last game of the 2022 season or it's the first game of the next season, right? When you convince your team, hey, we're going to get better at this. We're going to be better. I felt like Oklahoma was better in their bowl game than they ever were last season. They played Florida State, and everybody agrees Florida State is a top 10 team. Everyone agrees Florida State was a very good team last year, and they're slated to be a great team this year. Go watch the bowl game. Go watch the bowl game, Oklahoma versus Florida State. We all know it's a top 10 caliber team. We can name every starter at Florida State. Go watch the bowl game, and let me know if Oklahoma looks outmatched. I went back and watched it again. These are two teams trying to win that game, and Oklahoma loses the game. But, oh my goodness, did I see a team? I was like, whoa, they're playing with a top 10 team? They're really good. So I believe in Oklahoma this year. I think they have a favorable schedule. I think they win 10 to 11 games, and that's why I put them here. I think they win 10 to 11 games next year. So I got them at, what, 16? I'm cool with Oklahoma. At 15. Whoa. I can't see where I'm typing. My keyboard's under my desk, just so we're aware. At 15, I have Oregon. Now, I can admit Oregon has a shot to be higher than this. But if I'm looking at preseason poll, I have to put them at 15 straight out of principle. The reality is they didn't beat Oregon State. And when you lose to Oregon State, I can't put you ahead of Oregon State because Oregon State won out. They won their bowl game huge. They won by 30 points over Florida, right? Shout out to Florida for getting throttled. Everybody's like, well, they didn't have their quarterback. Well, they still don't have them. That's why Florida's not in my top 25. They still are terrible. But Oregon's good. Oregon had a great offseason. Bo Nix coming back is a big deal. But they lost Kenny Dillingham. And I feel like losing your offensive coordinator and Kenny Dillingham, your quarterback's coach, offensive coordinator, it's the first year Bo Nix is going to be away from him. Let's see if he can keep growing. Let's see if he can get better. But he got his brother, right? He got great receivers in the transfer portal. They got a ton of talent. Lanning is something else. So we'll see if they can put it all together. Oregon's following that SEC model of just getting gargantuan dudes and hoping for the best. We'll see what they can do. For me, personally, I find Oregon to be the third or fourth best team in the Pac-12. And this sounds about right. When you're the third or fourth best team in the Pac-12, you probably end up at 15. That's where I have them. At 14, I have their big brother. And I call it their big brother because they won last year. Oregon State at 14. You see the pictures here. Their running back room is not to be played with. Damian Martinez, as a freshman, 900 yards rushing, will run you over. Every one of their running backs is about 6'2", 220. They got three of them. Jam Griffin, Martinez, and Deshaun Fenwick, the transfer from South Carolina. Oh, my goodness. The three of those guys will just run you over. As a matter of fact, last year, Oregon's beating Oregon State in the second half. And Oregon State proceeds to never throw the ball in the second half. when they're trailing in the second half, go back and watch the game. You can YouTube this. They're trailing. They never throw the ball again. They run the ball every single play till they win the game. They're losing by 14 points or more, and all they do is run the ball until they win the game. It's a phenomenal, like, imposing your will on your rival. Just smack them in the damn face. Ran them over, bruh, in the fourth quarter like some grown men. And this is a great coach team. I'm not even talking about DJ Ungalele. I'm talking about an amazingly coached team by Jonathan Smith. I like Oregon State at 14. At 13, I have Utah. My only concern with Utah is Cam Rising tore his ACL in their bowl game, in the Rose Bowl. But Utah has a great running back, Jaquindon Jackson. If you don't know Jaquindon Jackson, he was at Duncanville. Great quarterback in high school, state champ, all this stuff, right? Or runner-up. But he was an amazing player in high school. Quarterback, dual threat. Goes to Texas, can't see the field. It's redshirt in his first year. And then they bring in Quinn Ewers, back from Ohio State, right? As soon as they bring in Quinn Ewers, Jackson says, man, I'm out of here. And he takes off. And he goes to Utah. And he's at Utah, and he's chilling. He's a quarterback. He's backing up Cam Rising. But every day the coaches see him at practice, they're like, man, we got a great running back. But he's 6'3", 200 pounds. Like, what are we doing? He's too tall. He's just a dual threat quarterback. He's a change of pace quarterback. He's this, that. Nope. They took this kid who was like Jalen Hurts, and they moved him to running back. Michael Bernard goes to the bench. They got some other guys. Cash Parks goes to the bench. They got to bench everybody, and this guy took over the running back room, and 2 running backs hit the transfer portal this offseason. Michael Bernard came back, but their running back room is now very good. I like Utah. I like what they're doing. They've won every single year. They won more games since they joined the Pac-12. They just keep winning more and more. It's been linear. It's weird. It's just been linear improvement. So I got Utah next year, though. I feel like if they don't have Cam Rising for the full season at full strength, I don't see them winning at all. But 13 is respectable. I can get down with it. At 12, I've got Tennessee. Now, people are going to freak out because I put Tennessee at 12 because they think they're going to have a big year in the SEC. That's fine. I feel like when you lose Hendon Hooker, who only threw 2 interceptions last year, and you replace him with Joe Milton, a guy who's never won a quarterback battle, I can't get behind that. Like, that's not an upgrade. It's not an upgrade. There's no way Joe Milton plays better than Hendon Hooker last year. There's just no way. I think it's impossible. Statistically impossible. What's he going to do? He's going to throw 1 interception? Hendon Hooker played lights out. So I like a lot of what Tennessee has. I like their offensive star power. I just don't see it. I think they're maybe the 4th best team in the SEC on a good day. And it's just where they end up. So they're at 12. At 11, who do I have at 11? I'm trying to think. Oh, Washington. Washington football. Oh, not these guys. Oh, buddy. These guys. Washington at 11. I'm telling you right now, Michael Penix Jr. deserves to be in New York if he has an equivalent season that he had last year. Led the nation in passing. I think after the bowl game, he led the nation in passing. And he has his receivers back. They got another receiver, Jeremy Bernard, who will be rotating in from Michigan State. I just think they're a well-coached team. I like Washington. Remember, Washington in the final polls last year was the number 1 ranked team from the Pac-12. They finished 8th in the final polls, and they weren't in the conference championship game. This is the 3rd best team in the Pac-12, and they weren't in the conference championship game, and they were 8th in the final polls. So for me to drop them down to 11, it's just preference. But they're still a top 10 team, but I have them at 11. Shout out to them. Washington is real. People need to respect them going into next season. I think they'll be great. This one is all I'm hoping. I'm hoping they have a great year. I have Texas at 10. Texas should have been undefeated last year. If you look at their 4 losses, they're all within reach. If they had a decent running back, they would have won those games. But their running back gave away the game against Texas Tech, literally fumbled in overtime, first carry. So lost them the game there. Had 15 yards rushing against TCU. Didn't get it done. And then against Bama, it was a miracle that they lost that game. So there's just no way around it. Texas has a good team, well coached. Ewers is an NFL quarterback. I like Texas at 10. Let's go to 9. At 9, I have Penn State. I like Penn State. People think I don't like them. I like them, man. They finished the final polls last year at 7. I just don't think Drew Aller is an upgrade from my boy Sean, right? Like, for me, you win the Rose Bowl, and you got a guy who's been starting at your school for 3 years. How do you replace that with a 5-star quarterback? Okay. But I haven't seen him do anything. If he was him, he should have started. So Sean Clifford is, to me, is going to be missed sorely. Now, they have great running backs. They did decent in the transfer portal, well enough. They kept their team together. But Penn State needs to get over that hump. I don't think it happens next year. I just don't think Michigan and Ohio State are any worse than they were. I think they're both very solid. And that leaves Penn State on the outside looking in. They could win another Rose Bowl for all I care, but that's where I have them. I have them at 9. Everybody needs to stop getting mad about it. I respect them. It's just I respect the other teams more, right? At 8, I have Florida State. Now this is just hoping they continue where they picked off. They got Jared Verse back. They got a great team. They got transfers at every single position that matters. They really do. Go look. Everybody's a transfer. I like Florida State. They got to beat LSU to start the season. They did last year, and ESPN ignored it all season. Florida State beats LSU, and no one talks about it. It just magically did not show up. Had SEC, they talked about SEC, yeah, they beat, they got Florida beating Utah. They started talking about, we beat this conference champ, we beat this conference champ, we beat this. But nobody said shit about the team that was in your conference championship and lost to Florida State, who was not in the ACC championship. They just wouldn't talk about it. Well, I'm going to talk about it every single week if it happens. If it happens, I'm going to remind everybody. But I think LSU's a better football team. But still, Florida State's legit. They deserve everything, so I put Florida State at 8. There you go. Clemson. No, Clemson doesn't use the transfer portal. I put them at 7. They've won the ACC 9 out of the last 10 years, something crazy like that. I love Clemson for a couple of reasons. I like Cade Klubnik. I think he's real. Okay? I think he's good. I think he's a professional quarterback. I like their transfer portal class. They dominated in the transfer portal class. Jeremiah Trotter Jr., Jamal Anderson Jr., Peter Woods. You're going to know these guys. Jamal Anderson Jr., the Dirty Bird, Jamal Anderson, his son, 6'4", 240. Bruh, wait till you see him play. I watched him play his whole high school career. I'm looking at this guy going, who the hell is he related to? He ain't no running back. This ain't no 5'7" running back. He must have had a mom that was a volleyball player. This guy's 6'4" and takes lunch money. And Peter Woods might be the best defensive player in Clemson history. And he's a true freshman next year. You guys always ask me, Rico, what true freshman is going to play football? What true freshman is going to start? Peter Woods. Peter Woods. I am right. It's going to be all over my videos. Peter Woods, go look him up. Go watch his highlights. Find his huddle film. Peter Woods. Peter Pecker, Peter Woods. All right. At 6, give me Alabama. I got Alabama at 6. I think they lose 3 to 4 games next year. I think they're very beatable. All those games they won last season by one possession. When they beat A&M 24-20. When they beat Ole Miss by 6 or 8 points. I can't remember what it was. Those games they won, they're not going to win this year. They're not going to pull it out. They don't have the quarterback. They just got the backup quarterback from Notre Dame to come be the starter. That's how good they are at quarterback. That's how bad they are at quarterback. They need an ACC transfer to come in and start at running back. They need transfers to come in and be their starters in their skill positions because they're not very good. They're just not. They just got their star wide receiver from the JUCO ranks. I need you guys to understand what's going on at Bama right now. Malik Benson is great, but he's coming from the JUCO. And since when do we start getting JUCO transfers, ACC transfers, a backup ACC tight end from Maryland or Big Ten tight end from Maryland, CJ Dippre? You're just getting backups from all over the place. Did you see their group of 5 corners they signed? They're getting corners from ULM. This is not your father's Alabama. They are struggling to score points. They're struggling to win games. And I got them at 6, and I'm going, man, I think they're still going to lose 3 or 4 games. You got to respect the talent they have. I love Caleb Downs. I love when they go and sign, they dominated the state of Georgia in high school. They recruited the state of Georgia better than Georgia. That's a fact. But that's because Georgia was going national. Georgia was getting running backs from California and tight ends from California. Shout out to Brock Bowers. Shout out to Roderick Robinson. So Alabama, to me, is going to struggle next year because they don't have a senior Latin quarterback, because they don't have a Heisman Trophy quarterback. When Bryce Young pulled out all the stops to win them games, they don't have – Jahmyr Gibbs and Bryce Young are gone, guys. They had 3 of the top 14 players in the NFL draft. And they lost 2 games. They had to pull off some miracles to win games. And they had Jahmyr Gibbs. And they had Will Anderson Jr. And they had Bryce Young. They don't have them. Everybody needs to take whoa, slow back. Whoa, man, Rico's telling the truth here. Yes, Alabama's going to struggle to score points. Are they a good team? Yeah, they are. They're a good team. Every team ahead of them is better. I got Georgia at 5. Everybody's losing their mind. Oh, my God. I can't believe there's a whole list of shit. You got Georgia at 5. You got Georgia at 5. Dude, I have Georgia at 5. It's like I'm saying the world ended. No, what I'm saying is they just lost 3 good players to the NFL draft. They lost their all-time greatest quarterback in school history. What are we doing? Are we ignoring the losses? What did they replace them with? I know what they replaced them with. It's a rhetorical question. Oh, but they got pieces in the transfer portal. No, they didn't. They got a little receiver from Missouri who they're not going to throw the ball to. You think they're throwing it to him? They only throw to 1 wide receiver. Oh, by the way, they lost an NFL caliber offensive coordinator. You think it's easy losing offensive coordinators? Ask Clemson what it's like to lose Tony Elliott to Virginia. Ask Clemson how they went from winning national titles to not and having to find their second offensive coordinator in 3 years. It's not a game out here. When you lose assistants, it's hard to recover from that. A&M losing Mike Elko to Duke. You think they don't want him back? Come on, guys. Dan Lanning is over there at Oregon. You're losing your parts and pieces. It's real. But for me, when it comes to Georgia, I don't see any NFL caliber running backs. I don't see any any wide receivers being utilized outside of Ladd McConkey. You want to talk about a 2- and 3-star player on the field? But I get it. They have great players on defense. They have great players coming in. I love their offensive line. They did lose a great offensive lineman, right? He's in the first 15 picks, first 20 picks. People need to understand what you're watching here. What I see is a team without a senior quarterback. Oh, but Rico, Beck is good. Beck is good. If Beck was so damn good, he'd be starting without a competition. Vandergriff and Gunnar Stockton ain't never thrown a damn pass in their lives. Why are they competing with a guy if he's that good? There should be no quarterback battle. You think there's a quarterback battle at Arkansas right now? You think there's a quarterback battle at LSU? No, there's no quarterback battle at those schools because they have returning incumbent starters. That's what Georgia doesn't have. That's what Bama doesn't have. And that's why they're here, where they're at. You need some type of quarterback. You need something. And here I'm seeing a chat here at TikTok. This guy says, Branson Robinson, stop believing the hype. Branson Robinson couldn't start at running back as a freshman over a 7th-round draft pick? Bronson, my bad. Bronson. Couldn't start at running back over a 7th-round draft pick? You guys don't know. The draft will tell you the truth about your team and about your position groups. There's nobody drafting these Georgia wide receivers because they're getting less than 2 receptions a game. And nobody's taking these Georgia running backs because they are not him. There is a run-of-the-mill. There's an average-ass running back in the ACC right now that could transfer to the SEC and be one of their star players, be one of the star running backs. Shout out to Jahmyr Gibbs. He was 11th in rushing in the ACC before he transferred to Bama. Now, everybody swears he's great. Same thing they did with Osiris, the lineman at Florida. Osiris, he's Sunbelt lineman. It's like you guys, just wait till next year. Just wait till next year when everybody's talking about Zachary Franklin being one of the best receivers they've ever seen, an SEC wide receiver, and he's at Ole Miss when he played at UTSA for 4 years, and they kept going, well, he's just doing that against Group of 5 talent. He ain't shit. That's what they're going to do. They're all going to ignore it. Everybody's going to ignore it. It's gross. Look at these SEC, yeah. SEC, yeah. Where's Jaden Daniels from? Where are these guys from? Where are all these transfers from? It's a joke, man. Where did Will Levis come from? Where's Graham Mertz from? I'm about to see all these transfers light it up. I'm not saying Graham Mertz can light up. Don't quote me there. You guys know what I'm going with this. Georgia at 5. They can prove me wrong. But it ain't going to be because they beat anybody above them. LSU at 4. I like Jaden Daniels. You know what's unique about Jaden Daniels? Somebody go look it up. Jaden Daniels was sacked over 30 times last year. Didn't care. He just ate the sack. He just ate it. He didn't throw it away. He didn't throw a pick. He didn't throw a bad pass. He got sacked 34 times or something crazy. But he played smart because he has a great coach, and he knows how to follow his coaching. They have the best player in the SEC. Harold Perkins is the best player in the SEC. Shout out to Judkins. I think he's the second best. But Harold Perkins is a beast. They dominated the transfer portal. Everybody's going, well, Rico, how can you put LSU here? Well, number one, they were in the SEC championship game last year, and they got blown out. Okay. Dominated the transfer portal. They got about 8 starters from the transfer portal. And they were already a good team. They got Omar Spates at linebacker to stand right next to Harold Perkins. Do you know what that's going to do? Do you guys have any clue what's going on here? Is Denver Harris going to see the field? These guys are real. I like LSU a lot. I think they're the best team in the SEC. I hope they put it together. I'd love to see them go on a run. You can't tell me they don't have the blue chip ratio. Like LSU a lot. Got them at 4. Let's go over here. Number 3, Ohio State. Now, the way I got here is pretty simple. I think Ohio State has the best wide receiver, 2 of the best wide receivers in the whole damn country, right? We all know this. There's no debating. They have the best wide receiver in the country. And it's really easy to win if you just get them the rock, right? I say that. But they got Cade Stover, one of the best tight ends. He's returning. They got a great team. They recruit well. They have the blue chip ratio. They're legit, okay? The only thing they don't have is a quarterback. Now, McCord, this was, I believe it was Marvin Harrison's quarterback in high school. But what people need to understand about Ohio State is I had to make a choice. Who is the best team without a good quarterback? There's Bama. There's Georgia. There's Ohio State. I'm talking about the best teams without an entrenched returning quarterback. Because if you look at all the best teams, Michigan's got a multi-year starting quarterback. USC, Heisman Trophy winner quarterback. LSU, good quarterback, returning, right? Clemson, Klubnik, good quarterback, 5-star, returning. Florida State, stud, Travis, returning. Penn State, Drew Allar, new quarterback, but 5 stars. Oregon, Bo Nix, returning. Washington, Michael Penix Jr. It's a quarterback league. I got it, bruh. So when I start looking at the teams that are poised to do well without a star quarterback, I put Ohio State number 1 out of all those teams. That's why they're number 3 in the polls. I've got Ohio State at 3, and I think it's because of the wide receiver talent on this team. That's how I feel. They utilize their wide receivers a hell of a lot better than Georgia does. They should have won that playoff game against Georgia. They make the field goal. We're not even talking about Georgia. They make the field goal. Georgia's at like 9 on this poll. Because I can do that. I'm telling you, Ohio State wins that game if they make that field goal. Shout out! It's hard to make a field goal when you got 2 hands wrapped around your throat, just choking. It's crazy. But I give them all the credit in the world. I really think Ohio State's good. I got them at 3. Number 2, I believe Caleb Williams is the best player in the country. I believe he's must-watch TV. I think he's generational as a dual-threat quarterback. I think we haven't seen anything quite like him. He's been explosive. His very first play from scrimmage at Oklahoma was a 65-yard touchdown. I also think his quarterback coach being Cliff Kingsbury matters. His offensive coordinator is one of the best in the entire world. His head coach, Lincoln Riley. But the way they attack the transfer portal to address their defensive needs, it's unheard of, man. They got an all-conference linebacker coming over in Mason Cobb. They got Christian Wallace coming over at corner, started 30 games at Arizona. I just feel like USC last season was one win away, and if Caleb Williams doesn't get hurt in that game against Utah in the championship, they're in the playoffs. They're in the playoffs at 4, and Ohio State doesn't make it. They could even be in at 3, but maybe 4. Even with TCU's loss, yeah, they'll still be in. No, they would have moved up to 3, so they would have played Michigan. That's what would have happened. But they lose. Now, if you go look at the bowl game, they lost to Tulane. Tulane had a great season, an all-time great season. But reality is Caleb Williams rushed for 0 yards that game. He was still injured. He didn't run. This is a man capable of running for 100 yards anywhere. Anywhere. He didn't run. So, for me, Caleb Williams coming back this year, even better. The amount of talent I saw leave USC in the transfer portal is noted. You're talking about Gary Bryant Jr. is going to be in the rotation at receiver at Oregon, right? I have Oregon at 15. C.J. Williams is going to be a star receiver at Wisconsin. I have Wisconsin at 23. Kyle Ford's going to be a receiver at UCLA. They're just outside the top 25. Like, the talent that left USC to go start elsewhere is insane. One of their tackles just left to go start at Kentucky, and I got Kentucky at 20. You get what I'm saying? Like, their team's leftovers, their team's departures are starting for teams in the top 25. That's how deep it is because of the transfer portal. They're recruiting great. They're recruiting fine. The recruiting is on par with all the perennial powers. Got that. Their transfer portal additions, far better, hugely better than anybody in the top 10. Well, no, Florida State's there. Oregon's there. LSU's there. I still think USC's got an amazing transfer portal class. Easily better than Georgia or Alabama. I mean, those aren't even, it's laughable. Because they're not dropping 20 scholarship players in the transfer portal. Because they're not having mass departures. Right? Alabama lost 22 players to the transfer portal. On purpose. They're just recruiting misses. But they're not backfilling them with transfer portal players. They're backfilling them with more recruiting classes. Which in 3 to 4 years will matter. But right now, Caleb Williams is not to be played with. Caleb Williams is far and away better than every player in college football. He will be the number 1 pick in the draft. He's an NFL caliber player right now. He would have been the number 1 pick in this draft. Caleb Williams would be starting for the Panthers right now. And instead, he's starting for the USC Trojans. That's how remarkable Caleb Williams is. Now, he doesn't play defense. But if you ask me, the reason why they struggled with their defense is not the depth on their defense. Well, it is the depth, but it's not the quality of their players. It's they score too fast. They were the number 1 offense in the country, them in Tennessee. Okay? You can go look this up. Them in Tennessee, number 1 offenses in the country. They score way too fast. And their defense has to go back on the field. And they're exhausted. By the third quarter, their defense is exhausted, and there's nobody left but backups to put in. And that's why their defense struggled. So what they go and do? They went and recruited and went out and got, I mean, one of these linebackers they got in their freshman class, he's going to start. I can't remember his name. White guy. He's like number 42. He's a monster. But the guys they got in the transfer portal, I just couldn't believe it. I could not believe the amount of defensive players they got in the transfer portal to hit the rotation. To just hit the rotation. It's incredible. It's why Colorado can't close the gap on them, because they did even better. When you look at getting all conference players or players who started 40 games at the previous school, yeah, you lose Jordan Addison, but you replace it with Dorian Singer, a top 15 wide receiver in the country, first team all Pac-12. What all conference players are transferring? That's what you got to ask yourself. Guys, when you look at the transfers and we say how good they are, how many of them are all conference? Like, outside of quarterbacks that we're transferring that are all conference, you don't transfer if you're all conference. Not in the Power 5. You're all SEC. Do you transfer? No. You're all ACC. Do you transfer? No. But Oh, my God. Did Mason Cobb transfer? Did Dorian Singer transfer? These are all conference guys transferring. It's nuts. It's money talks. Lincoln Riley talks. I think USC's poised to do it. Now, if they don't win, shout out to the Pac-12 for being extremely deep. Second year in a row, they'll have the most ranked teams. Last year, they had the most ranked teams in the final poll. They'll do it again, despite the bias, despite the ignorance on the other side of the river. But it's real. It's real. The teams are good. They just don't win when it matters, and they beat each other up. They play a 9-conference game season. They're going to lose games. They play against each other 9 times. Nobody else is doing that. Shout out to the Big Ten who does it. Shout out to the Big 12 who does it. Guess who doesn't do it? The ESPN conferences. Now, my number one team. Somebody demanded I answer this. My number one team in my preseason polls is Michigan. Michigan. Pretty simple, guys. Great transfer portal class. They found themselves about 5 or 6 starters in the transfer portal. They also have an amazing running back room. Their running back room is not to be played with. And one of the things people tell me is, well, Rico, they're actually not that good at running backs. It's the offensive line. Yeah, their offensive line, they just got 2 starters in the offensive line. And Drake Nugent coming over at center, he started 40 games at Stanford. Okay, Hinton coming over. Miles Hinton from Stanford coming over. These guys they're 30, 40 game starters in their career in the Power 5. They know what they're doing. Drake Nugent is going to win the Remington Award. Watch. I'm going to come back to this video, and I'm going to go in I Am Right video. Drake Nugent is real. And we're not even talking about their skill players. We're not talking about how JJ's going to turn the corner or how they're just going to feed the rock to their running backs and just laugh at you as they smash you and they average 7 yards a carry. I like Michigan a lot. I think they win their conference. I think they're poised to make it back to the playoffs again, and we'll leave it at that. So that's my top 25 preseason. Now, once again, this was not me predicting where these teams end at the regular season or end at the end of the season. A lot of people are going to get confused with this. They're going to be like, "Oh my God, you don't understand. This, that, or the other." It's not happening. I'm not here to guess where they end up at the end of the season. I'm here to tell you where they're at right now. I see somebody on TikTok wrote, Georgia didn't take anyone from the transfer portal, kids before the 2022 season. It's a weak argument. Mike Honcho, they also didn't lose the greatest quarterback of all time. They had a loaded team. They don't have that same team. People don't understand. Well, this is what we did last time, and we still did it. Like one guy goes, well, they lost five draft picks in 2021, and we still won the national title. Yeah, bro. Keep losing 5 draft picks every year, and then tell me that's the recipe for being successful. That's not it. It's the exception to the rule. The reason they're so damn good is because of Brock Bowers, bro. A unicorn. When you lose your unicorn, what are you going to do then? Have you ignored the fact that their leading receiver has transferred out of the program? The best talented wide receiver has transferred out of the program 2 years in a row, and none of the top 10 wide receivers in the country signed with them last year? This is a 2-time national championship team. They can't get any wide receivers to commit to them because they don't throw to wide receivers. It's like you guys don't study this shit. You guys just talk, bro. You guys just sitting here homers. Let's get back to the chat. Let's call it a night. We've been out here for a while. Shout out to everybody who's here. Let's go. This guy's mad about Rico's takes and start talking about his daughter. Oh, wait. We jumped in chat. Give me a second here. We jumped in chat. Pat Narduzzi. Sorry, guys. The bar moves. I got to catch up. My bad, y'all. Hot take, Florida's bottom 3 teams in the SEC. Not a hot take to me, Jacob Owens. I'll buy that. Let me go back up here. Here we go. Found it. I keep telling these guys they won't listen to me. Right, Oda. No one's going to listen to you, Oda. Start your own channel. See how it works out. I'm just ready for Carson Beck to step into Jordan-Hare Stadium in front of 90,000 fans, and he starts to see the blurry lines. Crazy because he can't even hear his own thoughts. I like Tennessee. Milton is legit. Makio Phillips. You like Tennessee. Milton is legit. So tell me this. What makes you say Milton is legit? His bowl game performance? because he lost the quarterback battle at Michigan, lost a job, couldn't beat out Hooker, right? He beat him, then he got hurt, couldn't play, whatever. He's not on the field. So what's the logic? What's the logic? Heupel is real, not Milton. There we go. That's someone who knows. Hey, shout out to Al Green. Al Green, bruh. I love it. Al Green. This man is singing R&B and spitting facts. Of all the languages to speak in the world, Al Green chose to speak facts today. I appreciate you, brother. Debatable. I think he's pretty raw right now, but he would develop. I don't see Heupel starts out the gate. You don't see Heupel starts out the gate. Makio Phillips, do you not know who Heupel is? Heupel is the coach. He says, I don't see Heupel starting out the gate. Josh Heupel won a national championship in 2000, bro. Josh Heupel would start over. He's fat now, but come on, man. God, Spencer Rattler has to be the biggest hype quarterback bust in college. LOL. Tennessee beat LSU by 40. So here's the deal. Irrelevant. Two totally different teams this season. It's just a different season. But when I look at Spencer Rattler being the biggest hyped quarterback bust, not true. There's been bigger busts. JT Daniels was a 5-star, and he's at Rice right now, right? Spencer Rattler should have never been a 5-star quarterback. His year coming out of high school, they had to give somebody 5 stars. They gave it to Spencer Rattler. They shouldn't have done it. No one should have been a 5-star quarterback that year. It's a fact. But look at Spencer Rattler. Who did he get beat out by? Caleb Williams, a Heisman Trophy winner. It's not that bad. Goes to South Carolina, got a new offensive coordinator, new coach. Every year he's got to learn a new offense. He's all right, dude. I'm cool with it. I don't think he's great, but I'm okay with it. The plan for Arch Manning is to redshirt from the beginning. Malik Murphy had a more realistic shot. Yeah, everybody knows this, Joseph. I don't think Tennessee beats LSU this year. Me neither. Is he reading comments on here? Jacob Owens, I read every single comment. You got to be patient and put it there. It's part of the show. When the comments run out, the show's over. We've been here for 2 hours now. I've been going nonstop for 2 hours. Got to give me a chance to catch my breath. 2.5 hours. Whoa. Let's go. I'm going to do what I can. Your takes are crazy, Oda. Crazy uninformed. Thoughts on JT Daniels transferring to Rice? My goodness. What'd I just say? Thoughts on JT Daniels transferring to Rice? Sounds about right. He looks like a Rice caliber quarterback. I'm being real. JT Daniels, I've never liked him. His release was bad. He played at Mater Dei. My twin brother, my father would call me every day. Hey, Rico, you going to watch the Mater Dei game tonight? You going to watch? I'm in Georgia. I'm going to watch it, bro. It starts at 1 in the morning over here, and I'm going to watch it. Relax. I got it on FSN. I got it on, all the different channels. Every damn channel in the world out here. And I watch all the games. I watch him, and I go, man, he's throwing to Brew McCoy. He's surrounded by a bunch of studs. I don't see it, man. I don't see it, and I was right. Oda, absolutely not. Spencer Rattler is him. Absolutely not. Spencer Rattler. Prod Self loves South Carolina. Loves him some Spencer Rattler. He's still waiting on my Spencer Rattler video. Shout out to him. I would still say TCU's 2014 team is better than last year's one, but your point still stands. Sure, Connor, I agree. Does he read comments on YouTube or TikTok? TikTok does not get read. You got to go to YouTube and put it in here. Oda Smith is a hater. YouTube only. Thank you very much, Seth. I got SMU beating Oklahoma, bro. Thoughts? Prod Self? Save your shirt, but do what you do, bruh. More power to you. I like SMU. I don't got them beating Oklahoma, but I respect what they're doing. I love everything they did in the offseason. Great transfer portal class. I don't see them beating Oklahoma, but yeah. All right. That's a big one. Do it. If they beat them, I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be devastated. I'd be really happy. I'd be ecstatic for the transfer portal. But, we'll see. They did win, but LSU is still getting on their feet. Entire team was full of transfers, and they had a new head coach. Don't forget they had a new head coach. Is he reading them in order? I'm reading them in order, Connor. Great point regarding level of transfers versus stars. Not everybody realizes the value of the time filled on development. For sure. Hot take, Florida bottom 3 teams. I'm with you, Jacob Owens. One of your stories inspired me to sign up for an adult flag football league, and we just played our first game, and me and my boys got placed in a bum-ass team, 45 minutes, not a single target. Kamari Parker, you got to be a baller, man. I was a baller. I guess you saw my video. Yeah, I played in an adult men's flag football league at the age of 19 or 20, somewhere around there. Maybe 19, maybe 18. I don't remember exactly, but that's how I got my first job, and I was the MVP of the league. I was a very accomplished football player. I didn't care. They didn't want to throw me the rock. There was no other way to go. They put me at running back and handed me the rock in the flag football league. They did. But, yeah, sorry to hear that, brother. Play defense. Get a pick or two. What do you think about new American and all the teams coming in. I know nothing about AAU, New American, and all the teams coming in. Oda is a casual. Yeah, it's okay. If he stays here, he will learn. He says he's been watching football for 33 years. Let me tell you something. Watching football will not teach you anything. Okay? You can practice. Practice doesn't make perfect. Practice makes permanent. Right? Practicing the wrong thing will just have you doing the wrong thing permanently. Perfect practice makes perfect. So when you watch football, if you don't know how to watch it or how to ingest it, you won't learn anything. When you start watching UFC fights with me, and this goes out to everybody, I watch UFC fights with everybody. UFC fans, fighters, people who've never seen it, whatever. And when we watch it, they go, holy shit, Rico. I've learned so much watching these fights with you. It's because I'm a mixed martial arts expert. I've trained in mixed martial arts for 20 years. I teach MMA. I was an MMA fighter for 10 years. I do this for a living. I'm like, yeah, guys, it's a little different when you watch it with somebody who knows what the hell's going on. So when you watch football games with me this upcoming season, I'll be live streaming a football game with you guys. And when I point something out to you, you'll learn and you'll go, oh, my God, that's why that happened? Oh, that's what that is? And sometimes it's these really intrinsic things people don't know because you're just watching the ball. Or you just think that guy, he blew his block or he didn't quite understand the assignment. There'll be times I see a quarterback throw a pick, and I will hear all the fans just lose their mind on how terrible he is. And I know damn well the receiver ran the wrong route. I know damn well what happened. I know that he read the wrong defense because the defensive back fooled him by showing one coverage and then switching right after the snap. Like, this is why I don't go to sports bars. Because I hear such ignorance out loud, I can't handle it. I got to be in my own silo, and I will teach the world if they just listen, if they just watch with me. Now, me being a football coach, me being an expert at the transfer portal or all sports, all this shit, hey, it didn't come with, without growing pains, right? But I've always had this I had one of my former players tell me this. One of my former players follows me on TikTok, and he jumps in here on YouTube from time to time, every night. I've seen him a couple times tonight. And he says to me, Rico, he calls me coach. He said, coach, the thing that's unique about you is the way your mind works. You see football different from everybody else. And this was an amazing player. He's one of my starting quarterbacks. He's a superstar kid. And I thought, I never really realized it like that. Because I grew up with my twin brother, and I felt he saw it just like me. But now that I talk to you guys, and we watch sports together, and I hear what you guys say, it's crazy how you guys can do something for so long and not understand what I'm saying and not understand what you're watching. It's insane to me how you can't digest it that way. But, hey, that's why we're here. That's why I am who I am, and you are who you are. Shout out to you guys. Love everybody, man. Let's keep it moving. All right, 33 years and still don't know anything about the game. There you go, Mikio. Keep that same energy when CU is 4-8. Keep that same 155 over 110 blood pressure, my guy. Oda Smith, I had Colorado winning 4 games. I have it on record. I said it on video. I have Colorado winning 4 games. Then I saw everybody they got in the spring portal. They cleaned out the roster, and I said, oh, wow. I see 6. We'll see what happens. What's your opinion on Satterfield hire at Cincinnati? How's he been doing so far? So he's been doing as best he can. Satterfield is a love-or-hate-it kind of guy. If you guys didn't know, Coach Satterfield was the head coach at Louisville his first year. One of his first years, he got Coach of the Year, and then he kind of regressed from there, okay? And the reason the regression is when you're a new coach like Satterfield, your message is clear, concise, and everybody believes in you. But after a couple of years, they start getting tired of your stories. They start getting tired of who you are and the way you do things, and they don't like you. And Satterfield is very unlikable. If you guys didn't know, Satterfield did not tell his team he was leaving. He did it via Zoom, or he did it during a video call or something. He didn't see his team face-to-face to say, hey, I'm taking the job at Cincinnati. I'm leaving Louisville. By the way, Louisville, Power 5 team. Cincinnati, gonna be a Power 5 team. It was a lateral move at best. Why would you do it? You left the team without telling the players bye. Coach Prime, leaving Jackson State, went and saw them face-to-face and said, yo, guys, I'm rolling out. And you had to man up and tell the team, right? Satterfield did not man up and tell the team. They all heard about it from somebody else. He didn't have a team meeting. Satterfield said, F you, kids. I don't care about the kids. I'm taking a new job, getting a pay raise, and I don't need to explain myself to you guys. I'm rolling out. And he didn't take a lot of players with him either. So he's not likable. But is he a good coach? Yes, he is. Satterfield is a good football coach. He just doesn't waste time explaining shit to people. No small talk out of Satterfield. I'd imagine his emails don't say, "Hi, how are you doing? Have a nice day. Regards, Satterfield." I bet his emails say, "Come see me." His emails are just very to the point because the man is efficient and has to do his job. I can relate. I'm an Army Master Sergeant. I've been a first sergeant for 3 years. I've been in the Army over 20 years. When I have hundreds of people to lead, you don't even want to see the way I talk to certain people. It's not that I'm degrading them. I think less of them. I have this much time to address an issue. Come see me. I'll explain later, and we'll keep it moving. I think Satterfield's cut from that cloth. I don't hate him for it. I like what he's doing. Good luck at Cincinnati. He needs to find recruits, but he's doing well in the transfer portal. Oda Smith is going off high school production. These grown men at CU are going to make a difference. Very true. Listen, Devil, 33 years, LMFAO. Keep watching Rico. You will get right. There it is. Shout out to you, Prod Self. We're all grown up in here. If you did not understand why UGA won't be the best SEC team anymore, getting cooked. I hope so, too, Makio Phillips. Now, then you should be able to know that the group of 5 school players are good players and Power 5 stars don't matter. 100%. There are a million, not a million, but there are players in the group of 5 that can start at your favorite school right now all over the damn country. The NFL draft is proof. The NFL draft is proof, guys. It really is. You're just not paying attention to it because you watch ESPN and they go, the most players were drafted from the SEC. Yeah, go look at the 7th round. It's a bunch of SEC, dudes. That's how they got the numbers. Just pumped it up, bro. Just pumped it up. They took a dude from here, a dude from here. They took a punter from LSU, whatever it is. It's like, what? Go back and slow down and start looking around. 2-star dudes were drafted. There's a 2-star dude from K-State taken 31st in the draft in the first round. 2-star from Missouri coming out of high school. 4 years later, getting drafted in the NFL. 2 stars. And he's not the only one. There was 2 stars in the first round. Look at A&M. Got a bunch of 5 stars, 5 and 7. Well, that's coaching. Yep. Let Rico cook. Let me cook. Give me the ingredients, y'all. Give me the spices. I'm letting you know now. Oda, he's got them winning 4 games. How is that meat riding? Prod Self. The guy don't know, bruh. He thinks I'm in here saying they're going to win 11 or 12. I'm unbiased. I'm convinced Oda's an Auburn fan. He is an Auburn fan. They gave up 40 points per game last year. Completely different teams. 100% correct. I don't know what happened to Oda's messages, but they've all been deleted by Steve. Shout out to Steve. I missed all the messages. Oda comparing CU to Bama and Georgia. It's laughable. It's laughable. Hey, you know what? You can't fight. Hey, I don't like that new fighter in the UFC, man. He couldn't beat John Jones. Why are you comparing him to John Jones, bro? Let him get ranked first before you start comparing him to John Jones. Oh, man, they got a new boxer coming out. He ain't shit, man. He ain't going to never beat Mayweather. That's what you sound like. Oh, that new guy joining the league. Hey, you see those guys getting drafted in the NBA draft? They ain't shit, man. They ain't LeBron. They ain't doing shit, man. They ain't impressed me. I bet he couldn't do that to John Morant. I saw what he did in March Madness, but I bet he couldn't do that to John Morant. That's what this guy's doing. It's hilarious, bro. You know how to hit the like button, though. Shout out to you, Kamari Parker. I appreciate you. He can't be a grown man. Got to be a little kid for clout. Got to be. Otis Smith, going to be one of those SEC fans that gets mad when Texas takes over and dominates in all 3 big sports. Yeah. Yeah. He's going to be shaking, bro. He's going to be shaking. This tells me a lot, Oda. Liddy went to my high school and was really good. Just wondering what you thought of him. Yeah, Liddy's just not very good at the FBS level. I'm sure there's a lot of guys at the FBS level that were the best that their high schools have ever seen. I'm sure of it. Texas and OU will improve, but I don't know if they would dominate. Okay. It's all about resources. Just got here. Have you reacted to the 2024 Florida schedule? Possibly the toughest schedule ever. The toughest thing is reading that the way you wrote the word tough. All right? You misspelled the word toughest, which is insane to me, but I got you, man. Is it the roughest, toughest, Afro-puffest? You don't know what I'm talking about. Rage, rock on with your bad self. Nonetheless, Sean B., I have not looked at the 2024 football schedule because I don't give a rat's ass about it. Okay? That's number one. I don't care how tough it is. It's an SEC schedule. Are you telling me they got 9 games now? They got 9 conference games? What are we doing? Auburn is the current day has been 2 and 1 more natties than USC, Notre Dame, Michigan, Miami, Texas, OU. LOL. Let that sink in. Let this sink in, Oda. You just used the wrong version of the word then. You're comparing them to these other schools. That should be THAN. Let this sink in. You've been watching football for 33 years and don't know the right version of the word then versus than. Comparison, THAN. Driving me insane, bruh. Driving me insane. They have great coaching, but Bama, LSU, and UGA do as well. Yeah, everybody does. Not quite. Thoughts on Grayson McCall? Big fish in a little pond. I wish he would have gone to a Power 5 school. Couldn't get the transfers to credit. The credits to transfer. But Grayson McCall, Coastal Carolina, got a new head coach. Jamie Chadwell left. We'll see what he can do. I like him. He's likable. Don't know if he's NFL caliber, but he's definitely college football caliber. Good kid. Natty don't matter. It matters how the team is right now. 100%. He thinks he's the only one that went to Afghanistan. No, man. When I hear somebody say they're an Afghanistan veteran, right? You guys have never heard me say Iraqi veteran. Because there's veterans, there's combat veterans, got it, and then there's retirees. People who did their whole adult life. You let me know where I'm at, bro. And then there's combat veterans that were retired. Like, let me know, bro. That shit don't move me. When dudes start telling me that I got a ribbon rack you wouldn't want to see, bro. Don't talk to me. Don't do it. I accidentally did more for this country than you did on purpose. I promise. I'm still in the active duty army. 20 years plus. Who are the 3 professional quality quarterbacks in the SEC? So the 3 professional quality quarterbacks in the SEC are KJ Jefferson. Boom. You guys are going to argue with me, but I think Jaden Daniels has a shot. Okay, I think Jaden Daniels has a shot. And then your boy at Kentucky just transferred in, Devin. So that's where I'm at on those 3. Do you think Leonard Fournette is the best college running back of all time? If not, how good? So are you 14? Leonard Fournette is not in the top 50 best college running backs of all time. Not top 50. 5-0. Leonard Fournette isn't not in the top 5-0 running backs of all time. He's good. He was good at LSU. He's not in the top 50. Rico, I love the channel, bro. Can't wait to see where it takes you. Thank you, Dwarfland. It'll take me to your guys' living room. It'll take me to your phone and your computer every single day. I'm right here. How will Jerkovic fare at Pitt? So he's going to do his best he can, but I don't think he's an upgrade from Keaton Slovis. Like I said, I told you guys how bad Boston College's offense was last year. Well, Jerkovic was the quarterback, right? He is not him. Now, going over to Pitt, you lost your safety blanket. You lost Israel Abanikanda, a 1,400-yard rusher, 6 yards a carry, 20 touchdowns. You lost that production. It doesn't look good. Do I like Pitt? Yes. Narduzzi knows what to do with guys, make them all tough and shit. But, somebody's got to lose in the ACC, and I think it's going to be Pitt, Syracuse, Miami. I think Virginia Tech. They're all going to be in that lower half of the region. That's what I think. I think last year was their year. They had a great middle linebacker, great center. They had great players last year. Tackle just sucks this year. What position would Usain Bolt be best at? Probably doggy style. Jerkovic sucks. Okay. Have you watched any GCU track and field? GCU, Grand Canyon University track and field? I saw some of their guys in the regionals. Watched them play in person. Absolutely terrible Power 5 quarterback. Shout out to Colin. That's a UConn fan right there. You going to go to the Louisville versus Georgia Tech game in Atlanta for Chick-fil-A kickoff? I try not to miss games, so I probably won't go because I don't want to miss games on TV. If I go to a game, I'll miss others. But if it's on a night when no one else is playing, I could see myself. If Arkansas defensive backs are elite, then they're going to Bama and Tuscaloosa, right? I don't know what you're saying. Arkansas defensive backs are not elite. They're just better than they were last year. Not a Pat Narduzzi squad. Okay, Pat can't fix him. Thoughts on Grayson McCall at Coastal? Never asked the same question twice. Looking forward to my Rico Knows coffee mug. Shout out to you, Steve. Steve bought a coffee mug. If you guys didn't know, you want to get merch, RicoKnows.org. That'll get you the merch. Shout out to you guys. When do you think LSU will lose first? Liam, if I have them way up there, I don't think they're losing all that often. Let's see. If they lose first, it'll be against Florida State. There you go. There's your answer. Where do I think LSU will lose first? Florida State. Do I think they're going to lose? I don't know. My brother plays for Baylor. Got a ticket when you're ready. I'm at Schofield, but I always fly in for the games. All right, Ronaldo, shout out to you, brother. And good luck to your brother. Just curious question. Who do you think is the real college football city or town? Real college football city or town? It's hard to argue against Athens right now. Right now, it's hard to argue against Athens. But you know what? I'm going to tell you. I went to Ann Arbor, Michigan, the big house. That city was weird, bro. They had like this little market that I was walking around. Like a little street market. They're weird people out there. Michigan is weird. Ann Arbor? That's not like Detroit. It's not like Lansing. It was weird. So Ann Arbor, Athens, probably those two. Tuscaloosa. I mean, everybody's got their own environment, but those stick out to me. Whoa, merch, where take my money? There you go, Prod Self. Yeah, you just go to RicoKnows.org. RicoKnows.org, we have merch. You can buy shirts. You can buy hoodies. You can buy coffee mugs. Do what you do. 3 TVs nonstop. Which college football game, pregame show do you watch, if any? So, J-Lo, I try not to watch any. I try not to let them influence me, especially ESPN's. But every now and then, you know what I'm curious about? I want somebody to go to game day, and I want a poster up that says hashtag Rico Knows in the background. On game day, I want to see hashtag Rico Knows on a poster at game day. So we got to figure out how we're going to do that. But that's my challenge to all my followers and fans out there. Hey, there's 60,000 of us. We got to be able to do this. Somebody's got to be able to get to game day, get a poster up that says Rico Knows. Let's see what happens. Rico Knows on TikTok. We'll see what it is. People will learn that Rico knows. Yes, they will, Mitch Winder. Especially, Mitch, this football season, I'm going to be making nonstop I Was Right videos from all of my transfer portal predictions, from all of my performance predictions, from who's going to start where, who's going to do what. I'm so ready to make I Am Right video. I can make an I Am Right video every single day. If I go back and look at all my old takes, if I sat down, went through I've made over 3,000 videos now. If I went through the last 2,000, I could just be making nothing but I Am Right videos all day long. I'm bored of it. I'm right so often, I don't even make videos about it anymore. Serious. I'm right so often, I don't even make videos. Every now and then I'll do one just to make myself feel good. Just to, get them endorphins going. But it's every day. Shout out to me. What's your take on NIL? I talked about it at length yesterday, Stone Braley. So do me a favor. If you can go watch, it's on YouTube. Go to the live streams. You'll see all the different live streams. Check out yesterday's live stream. I talked about NIL versus collectives a lot yesterday. What do you think about Drake May and how he will progress? Talked about that yesterday as well. I think he's not going to progress. Lost his offensive coordinator, lost 2 NFL caliber wide receivers, lost his entire secondary on the defense. So I think they're going to have a bad year. I think he's going to be down this year. I think he's going to lead the team in rushing again. But yeah, Drake May have a down year this year compared to last year. Want to interview your day one? I'm here. Morant's Rants. If you guys didn't know, Morant's Rants is my twin brother. That is my twin brother. He's 4 minutes older than me, about 40 pounds heavier. Shout out to Morant's Rants. He's on a weight loss journey. He's been working out every day. If you want to follow him, he talks stock market. He does all that shit. Talks about GameStop. Apparently they got a new CEO, and he wants you to buy on the dip. Buy on the dip, buy the low. But shout out to Morant's Rants. He's on YouTube. He's on TikTok as well. Morant's Rants, my brother. Shout out to you, bro. I asked you about Arizona State about a month ago. Where do you have ASU in the Pac-12? Super excited for the season. So, Landon Patterson, I like Arizona State. I like everything they're doing, Dillingham and whatnot. But somebody's got to lose games in the Pac-12. I think it's going to be UCLA. I think it's going to be Arizona, Washington State, not Colorado. No, I think Arizona State's poised to be just as good as Colorado. So we're looking at 6-7 wins. I think Arizona State did well flipping their roster in the transfer portal. A lot of people don't talk about it. It wasn't 50, 60 guys, but it was definitely 30, right? It was definitely 30. I like what they're doing, what they're building. Brought a bunch of guys back home. Arizona has some really good high school football in the city of Phoenix. So a lot of those guys came back home, and let's see what they can do with it. Rico is on the back end of a military career. He has the time and doesn't need the money. Real ones know. Shout out to you, Trent. This is the truth. I'm doing what I do. I am making money doing this, but I don't need anything. If I did, I'd go to work. But everybody sees me every day. I see people, they always see me on TikTok Live. They're like, what are you doing on here? Why don't you go to work? Shut up, kid. If you were 40 and in my shoes and you had my bank account, you would be bragging. You would be living a good life, bruh. There's one thing I don't stress. It's money. I stress a lot of other things, but not money, bruh. So I did something right. Found a loophole in this world, and I'm doing okay. So shout out to you guys for knowing that. The real ones know. Wow, who's disrespecting UConn? We're throwing hands if I see them in person. No threats, no threats. I think your channel is going to be similar to 365 Sports Channel in the future if you keep growing. I don't know who 365 Sports Channel is, but I think I'm good. I'm glad you guys are here. Rico, you the man. My question is, what dynasty running back sleeper do you have for next year? Damian Valdez, I don't even know what that means. I don't play fantasy football dynasty. I don't know if you're referring to a running back that's going to be in next year's draft. Is that what you're asking? Please rephrase. Please clarify. A running back in next year's draft? I'll get back to you. Then I have to look at NFL potential, blah, blah, blah. Don't take Blake Corum. If he meant the worst FBS team, that's flat out wrong. I don't know what he meant. Do you think Dante Moore is starting at UCLA? What's the main reason he transferred? That was the main reason he transferred. So Dante Moore never transferred. Dante Moore came out of high school and signed with UCLA. Dante Moore is a 5-star quarterback, and I just got through telling you guys, 5-star quarterbacks do not start at the beginning of the season. They either start by the end of the freshman year, shout out to Cade Klubnik, right, and Trevor Lawrence, or they redshirt because they're behind a professional. Now, if they're not behind a professional and they redshirt, they are not good. They are not real 5-stars. And so we're going to find out. If Dante Moore is behind a professional, that's news to me. Shout out to Colin Schlee, transfer from Kent State. But Dante Moore should win that job by the end of his freshman year, or he's not a 5-star quarterback. That's how I feel about Dante Moore. This channel will explode in the fall. No more Paul Feinbaum. Yeah, we have Rico. Shout out to you, J-Lo. I appreciate you. Thoughts on OU heading into SEC next year? Not completely sold on Ben Venables as a fan. Happen to be wrong, though. Let me know. Yeah, you're wrong, Justin. I already talked about this. Rewind this. Go back when I talked about Oklahoma in the rankings. You'll know what I'm talking about. Do you think a team of walk-ons with 22 5-stars and one at every position could compete? No, walk-ons. In college, your backups see the field a lot. In college, your backups see the field a lot. I can pull up a team right now. Let me just pull up a team. What's a team? Somebody name a team. UCLA. I just did UCLA football stats. And if you have 22 5-stars, that doesn't do you any good because they're going to get injured. They're going to get tired. And I want you to see, I just pulled up UCLA right here, and I just want to show you guys. How many receivers do you see? Like, how many guys are catching passes? Running backs, how many do you see, right? Who's running the ball? Do you think it's just one guy? There's all these other guys that get on the field. How about defense? If you think there's only 11 guys on defense, look how many guys made tackles last year. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Even if I take away their top 11 tacklers, we still have guys with 25, 13, 14. Like, you still have all these guys who played football. All these guys saw the field. You need a whole team. It's not just 11. 11's not cutting it. And the minute you start putting walk-ons on the field, they're a liability, bro. They're a liability. Real quick. 24/7 is a joke. I know nothing about it. 24/7 sports ratings suck. Yes. UConn just got their highest-ranked recruit under Jim Mora Jr. Let's go. Mikey Matthews is a dog. Watch that kid play. Thank you, Wayne Morgan. Look at that. I'm talking about a high school kid nobody knows about. Wayne Morgan knows. Shout out to him. How do you think Desmond Ridder and the Falcons offense perform? The defense seemed to be filled with a bunch of old superstars. Just old players. I don't think Desmond Ridder is him. Just making that clear. How does a 5-star differ from a 5-star? The recruiting services have no clue what they're doing. They just give guys 5 stars based on metrics, size, and supposed ability, but they don't really know. There's things that you can't measure, like development or work ethic or commitment to your craft or aptitude. There's just things they can't measure. They don't have a clue how a guy's going to develop in the near future. All they know is he's 6'3" and has the prototypical size and speed of a good player. Typically they pan out, but they don't always pan out. The majority of them do, but it is what it is. Y'all heard him. Rico knows. Thank you, Glaze. Thank you, LaRocco. I appreciate you, bro. Only thing Nick Foles has over Kirk Cousins is he went on that playoff run and beat GOAT Brady in the Super Bowl. No. Kirk Cousins beat out Nick Foles in college and made Nick Foles transfer. All right? He took Nick Foles' girlfriend in college. I'm just letting you know. Who's better, Josh Allen or Burrow? Joe Burrow is worlds better than Josh Allen. I'm not a believer in Josh Allen. Don't bring him up on this channel. I don't think he's a very good quarterback. I think he's a product of a system. Shout out to Dabo. Shout out to Ken Dorsey, his quarterback's coach, and having Diggs as a wide receiver. Before all three of those guys, he was absolute trash. Go back and look at the stats. It's real. Why is the polls dissing Washington? One bad quarter at ASU cost them the Rose Bowl. Washington? You're talking about Washington? The polls had them at 8. 8's not dissing. Top 10 is not dissing. You're not in your conference championship, and you're the 8th best team in the country. What? You're one spot behind Penn State, who beat your conference champion in the Rose Bowl. Penn State, 3rd best team in the Big Ten, at 7. Washington, 3rd best team in the Pac-12, at 8. Sounds about right. What do you think of Stanford breaking top 10 in recruiting class with new head coach Zach Taylor? I think they need to get Elijah Brown from Mater Dei, the quarterback, if they want to do that. I think Zach Taylor's a great coach. I don't think they'll ever be top 10 in recruiting, but I like Zach Taylor a lot. I like what he's going to try to do there. They need to allow transfers. Stanford University doesn't allow transfers all that often. They want to keep high academic standards. They're only getting like Ivy League transfers, some dudes who are like going after master's programs, no undergraduate transfers. They're fighting everything. So good luck, but it's tough. That's why David Shaw retired. That's why he left. He said, I'm out. I can't do this. Should Colorado redshirt Dylan Edwards? Yes. And Cormani McClain? Yes, both of them. I think so. Prod Self never said I was the only one, but when someone says he's probably a kid trolling for clout, don't give a fuck. Okay, let it go. Let it fly. Let it fly. Nah, you don't. You said Bobo was the offense coordinator at Auburn in 2019. Otis Smith, I'm sitting here not Googling anything, bro. I'm going off my memory. Okay? So sometimes I'll get a year wrong, but you know what I'm saying. You get the premise. Don't ever sit here and think you know something I don't. You kids get to sit there and Google me and get to say what you say. I got to know 133 teams. This is not luck, bro. I do this. Georgia has the easiest schedule I've ever seen. How's that possible, Aramis? How do they have the easiest schedule you've ever seen? They play in the mighty SEC. There's no weak teams in the SEC. It's a gauntlet. All of a sudden, they have the easiest schedule in the country. Is the SEC the strongest, or do they have an easy schedule? I need to know. You guys are contradicting yourselves everywhere. I thought the SEC was amazing. Thoughts on J.J. McCarthy? None. I don't really think about J.J. McCarthy. He's a decent quarterback. He's not a first-rounder like they're saying in mock drafts. He's just fine. He beats out a lot of guys. He's got a lot of dudes on the bench that ain't it. He's beating out people left and right. He's making dudes transfer. He's an alpha male. I like it. I like it. How do you think Will Levis will pan out? Oh, my goodness. He couldn't beat out Sean Clifford, bro. I can't mess with Will Levis. True, Georgia's schedule is terrible, but that's the ESPN SEC influence to make them three-peat. Yep. Zappy was a dog. Yes, he was. Isn't Zappy one of the two terrible that quarterback that Patriot has, if I remember correctly, after watching the Patriot game last year? Zappy plays for the Patriots. He's not terrible. Thoughts on Colorado being a ranked team by the end of this year? New Life Cowboys, they would have to win 10 games to be ranked. They would have to win 10 games. UCLA was 9 games and wasn't ranked. They'd have to win 10 games. So I don't think that's possible. I don't think that's realistic. I got SMU beating Oklahoma. Shout out to you, Prod. Don't repeat it. Colorado will need a miracle to be ranked. They will need a Cinderella run and win 8 to 9 games. Nope. 8 to 9 games does not get you ranked. What do you think about Mississippi State? Nothing. I think they're going to have a tough time existing and winning without Mike Leach. The majority of their offense was built for the air raid offense. You know, they threw to 14 different wide receivers last year. How do you do that? With no tight ends on the roster, and now you're going to change the offensive scheme? It's going to take some years to bounce back. It's going to hurt. I think Mississippi State's going to have some growing pains. They'll be one of the worst teams in the SEC. I know they have Will Rogers. I've watched everything I can about him. He's a one-read quarterback. He's made no progression reads. And as you get away from air raid and you have to make progression reads, he's never done it in his life. I'm telling you. He's never thrown to his second target. Makes a pre-snap read and throws it to the first guy. He's good at it, but he doesn't do much else. My dog is humping my arm right now, just so you guys know. That's what Ash is doing. If it looks like I'm getting pulled away, she's literally humping me right now. Sorry, guys. It's her time of the night. They can win 8 games. That won't get you ranked. 8 games won't get you ranked. Where is SC? Which SC? Where is Malachi Weidman? Where did he end up? He didn't end up anywhere. He's still in the portal. I don't think his grades are good. I think that's why Coach Prime mentions grades every time. I don't think his grades are good. He played pretty good during their bowl game, so I think Milton will be pretty good. There you go, Elijah Johnson. That's good logic. It works. Don't understand the Drew Aller hype. Me neither. I don't think he's all that accurate from what I've seen on film. Yeah, No Meter Green. He was terrible in the All-American game. He was terrible. On high school film, he was very dominant in Ohio, but ever since then, I've never really seen him play to the level that I would expect a 5-star player to play. At the same time, not beating out Sean Clifford tells me all I need to know. If you can't beat out a guy, he better be an NFL quarterback. Sean Clifford's not an NFL quarterback. Should have beat him out, and he didn't. So I'm not a big believer in Drew Aller, to be honest. Oregon would beat Penn State. I said what I said. I believe what you said. LSU did everything to lose that game. What up, Rico? Rico, considering you're listing your rankings for reference, I just posted them on TikTok, Trent. They're on TikTok, Trent. There's a video, and I'm posted it on. I think I posted it on YouTube. It's in a video. I thought Milroe was going to be a stud. You and Alabama. Not a bad idea. He's a freak. Milroe needs to move to another position. Okay. Don't forget they don't have an O-line, Rico. Oh, snap. Crazy. Who doesn't have an O-line, Dreco? Who doesn't have an O-line? You're going to have to tell me who you're talking about. When you guys say they, by the time I get to it, I don't know who you're talking about. Lost A.D. Mitchell, too. Yes. How many did they lose 2 years ago? A fair amount, Billy Godwin. You can't afford to lose them over and over and over. At some point, you just lose. Billy, this guy kills me, man. And reloaded just like they will again. Yep. Shout out to you. He's hating on everyone else's transfers but praising all those SWAC and FCS transfers Colorado got. Yeah, Colorado's SWAC and FCS transfers are FBS level players. Travis Hunter could start at your favorite school. All right? You don't understand how good those players are. They're not SWAC transfers. There's nobody else from the SWAC transferring to Colorado. They didn't go get a bunch of other SWAC players. They only got players from Jackson State. They didn't go get players from other schools. Like, what are you doing? They got players from Jackson State for a reason. They weren't SWAC players. They were FBS caliber players. I already made a video on this week. I don't want to have to address it again. Nuss could start at every other school. He could. I don't know about every other school. Stenson was a damn walk-on, and now he's done one back-to-back natty championships. So now you're bragging about a walk-on, but you just knocked some guys who weren't walk-ons. You knocked some guys who were at FCS schools. But you're bragging about a walk-on. Make it make sense. Your hate for Georgia is real, bro. My accuracy is even more real. My accuracy, my hit rate is real. My batting average is Hall of Fame. My hit rate on what I'm saying on all my old videos, bring it back. My I Am Right playlist is deep. Go check TikTok before you get to the videos. At the very top, there's a bunch of rectangles. One says I am right, one says I am wrong. Find the I Am Right playlist. Let me know what's real. Let me know what's popping, bro. Let me know. He doesn't hate Georgia. He hates the fans because you aren't realistic. This is very true. Where's Ole Miss in your top 25? Go watch my top 25 video. Please don't ask again. They'll prove them wrong again. They didn't prove me wrong. How do you know I didn't have Georgia winning the national title? What do you mean they're going to prove me wrong again? SEC fans will spoil every chat room they enter. They're a disease. They are. They're delusional. It's unfortunate. Harold Perkins was a running back converted to edge. That's a cheat code. Demario Douglas showing out. Oh, my God. I was right. Oh, my God. Demario Douglas showing out at the Patriots OTAs. I told you guys Demario Douglas is the truth. I called him a late-round sleeper and gem out of Liberty. Oh, by the way, you know who his high school quarterback was? Carson Beck. Carson Beck. I went and saw them play their state championship game in Orlando. I went and saw the game. Carson Beck and Demario Douglas. They win the game. Demario Douglas scored 4 touchdowns that game. He was the best player on the field, not Carson Beck. Do you worry about LSU's depth? Not at all. They address depth with the transfer portal like you wouldn't believe. LSU's good. Oda, there's a difference between Colorado getting transfer portal players and one of the top 3 teams in the country getting transfer portal. Exactly. Best team in the SEC. What? I like LSU. K-State making top 20. It's possible. I'm not knocking them at all. I like K-State. I think it's possible. I'm not starting them there, but I'm with you. I like them. Go Buckeyes. SEC fans are a disease. LOL, we've only been in 19 of the last 23 natties. Blah, 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 3 of those SEC. Dude, you are an ESPN clone, bro. 2008. 15 years. ESPN paid for this thing. You don't even know what you're watching. Texas is the best team in the SEC. We're about to be smoking on that SEC pack. There you go. Yeah, he was. Texas losing 5 games in 2024. Marcus, I don't believe that's true at all. I don't think there's 5 teams. No, there are not 5 teams in the SEC better than Texas. Not a chance. Not today. Dude, They lost to Alabama off a miracle. Texas can beat everybody else in that conference except for Alabama and Georgia. What are you doing? Texas is real. SEC winning due to ESPN. What was the record prior to ESPN purchase of the SEC network? Thank you to Chris. Chris is watching content and educating the masses. Shout out to Chris E. up in this bitch. Okay, Oda, thanks for proving my point. Exactly. Georgia don't miss 2 of theirs. It's not even that close. I don't even know what this guy's saying. No, duh. They win if they make a field goal. There's no time left. Yeah, ESPN is the reason SEC has owned college football since 2000. Oda Smith, SEC has not owned college football since 2000. They've owned college football since Florida started winning national titles in 2008. They've owned college football because of ESPN. ESPN paid $2 billion. $2 billion to the SEC. They used that for recruiting and started recruiting everybody out of high school. That boosted their recruiting. That got them in bowl games. That got them ranked, okay, because they got the better players. That got them in the polls, and now it's just churning, and it can't be stopped now. It's a machine, and they keep doing it, and they won't stop doing it. And the conferences that are televised by Fox, they're the ones you think are the worst. Pac-12 and Big 12. Those teams get no respect. Those teams aren't even evaluated or looked at. And when the SEC bought the ACC, when ESPN bought the ACC in 2014, when they started the ACC network, guess what happened to Clemson's recruiting budget? Guess what happened to Clemson? They magically started getting into national title games against SEC schools. And now an ACC champ is more valuable than a Big 12 champ or a Pac-12 champ. Like, you don't understand what you're watching. What you're watching is manipulation, and you're being manipulated. You are the minion. You're the guy that goes there and says, where do I drink from? It's insane. USC has 0 defense. There we go. That's what I'm talking about. Not even understanding what you're watching. No one is going to have a good defense when your offense scores that many points. Let me guess. Tennessee has 0 defense too. Yeah, Tennessee's defense gives up a ton of yards and points because their offense scores so much. Same with USC. This is why their defenses aren't, quote-unquote, good. They score too much. Both of them. The number 1 and number 2 in the whole country. False valor. USC can't mess with UGA. USC's defense improved so much. You couldn't beat Tulane. No, couldn't beat Tulane. Go back and watch the game. Let me know if their defense is the reason they didn't beat Tulane. Let me know why Tulane won that game. Quick, watch 58 minutes of it because the last 2 minutes are a miracle 14 points. Get real, bruh. I got LSU losing 3 games to Florida State, Bama, and Ole Miss. You got LSU losing to Bama, Ole Miss, and Florida State. Daniels won't be good enough to win on the road. All right, Al Green. I got LSU winning all 3 of those games. I got LSU winning all 3 of those games. The closest one is Florida State. They're much better than Bama and Ole Miss, as far as I'm concerned. No SC is crazy. You mean South Carolina? No, South Carolina is crazy? What was the polls like at the end of the year? What were the final college football polls? You know what's crazy? South Carolina was 23rd at 8-5. 23rd at 8-5 in the final poll last year. 23rd. And they lose their leading rusher. They lose 5 of their best players in the transfer portal. And then 2 to the draft, and Cam Smith. And you think they should be ranked? They're 23rd. At best, they're 23rd, and they got worse this offseason. They lost all their best players. What are we doing? You guys are just delusional, bruh. You are making noise. SEC dominance only started in 2009 after ESPN started meddling. Yes. Yes. Not really, Juan. Thank you very much, Colin. You like Louisville or Kentucky better this year? I like Kentucky to be good, right? But I like Louisville. I like Louisville a lot. I like Kentucky, but I like Louisville. I actually like Louisville to win that game. I have them winning at the final week of the season, upset. I'm cool with it, but you get what I'm saying. You get what I'm saying. I like both the teams. Welcome to the show, buddy. What up? J-Lo, false valor. Okay, relax. Why are you guys taking shots at his daughter? Oh, you guys shouldn't do that. I got 3 daughters. You shouldn't do that. You probably wouldn't want to do that in real life. You'd go to jail. You'd deal with me. It wouldn't work out. It wouldn't work out. I can't lie. This is a great breakdown of the top 25. Based on your list, and true power teams are in the Pac-12, and their conference won't exist in 2 years. Very true. Very true. Georgia forgets they almost weren't in the Natty game. They don't forget. They just want to tell the story the way they want to tell it. The story's told by the victors. They're going to tell their story. Is USC going to be like Bush, liner ears, or still behind that? No, they're going to be like that, Matt Baston. They have an equivalent team to those years. Yes. Y'all leave this man's daughter alone, weirdos. Yep. I'm not even worried about it. Right, Norris? People always fail to acknowledge that scoring too fast is a problem. You nailed it on that. Thank you very much, Nick. I try my best. This guy's mad about Rico's takes and starts talking about his daughter. Just get Seth out of here. How can you put them on the top 5 after watching Michigan did to Ohio State and Utah drag USC through the mud? Yeah, it's just a different team. It's a different year. Goat 42. It's not the same teams playing each other. It's not the same. They're not having a rematch from last year. What are we doing? It's an entirely different team. Not entirely different. It's just an improved team. The USC team from this upcoming season would drag the USC team from last season. How about that? They would drag. You don't think Caleb Williams got better? Whew. Michael Thomas, best receiver in the league. What league? Maybe in 2019 for one season, Wyatt. Since 92, the SEC has won 17 at. Dude, what are you doing? What are you doing? Oda Smith, what are you doing? It's absolute garbage. You're going back to talk about Florida? You don't even understand how national titles were won since 92. You don't even know how national titles were won since 92. They were won by the AP poll. Get out of here, bro. We're not even going down this path. You think Bo Nix would be drafted first round if he doesn't get hurt and performs the way he did last season before injury? Yeah, I think Bo Nix will get drafted. He's a very good quarterback. But it seems like Michigan finds a way to consistently not be able to get it done. Jim Harbaugh might be the reason Michigan goes home first in the playoff, home again. Or maybe the other team on the field is trying to beat them. Maybe they're up against another team trying to beat them. SEC success won't grow any value. Nice try, though, folks. Who do you root for? Blah, blah, blah. All right, it's been pretty late. I want to catch up in the chat. I'm doing my best. You guys put me to work. You guys are arguing with one another. No, I don't think JJ's a real Heisman contender. I think if they win games, it'll be Blake Corum that gets the Heisman hype off that team. So that's how I feel that goes. I can't really go any further than that. Sorry, the chat jumped on me. I'm trying to catch up, guys. You guys have got me here all night. Make sure you hit the like button. Rico will disagree on my Spencer Rattler takes, but I'm sticking to my guns. I'm a Rattler guy. There you go. I know you're not a better, but Vegas has Kentucky at 6.5 wins. Seems low to me. Yeah, I'm not a better. You got it right. What will it take for Iowa to win the Big Ten, Rico? A miracle? Ashton Talbot, a miracle? Some monumental injuries? Like, I don't know how you guys think Iowa would win the Big Ten. I got them 4th or 5th at best. Yeah, that's not happening. I'm sorry, where was I? Beat Michigan. The Reverend Al Green is what the world needs today, and this chat. Why not South Carolina ranked? Finished the year really strong. 8-5. Lost all your best players. Just talked about it. Josh Heupel, too big to play now. That guy didn't know who Josh Heupel is. I'm telling you. Oh, no, I don't think he'll beat out Joe Milton to start the season. Yeah. Dude, I didn't get to see the full top 25. Real down, did Iowa make it? Iowa made it. You can rewind this podcast. I talked about it the entire time. I also have 2 videos posted, one on YouTube, one on TikTok. You can find it. Rico for President, Rico for SecDef. Hey, SecDef. That sounds good to me. Thoughts on Grayson McCall? I already talked about it. Go back and find it. I'm spitting facts, no R&B. Shout out to you, Al Green. Is Nebraska relevant anymore? Yeah, I believe so. I believe they're relevant. They're relevant in Nebraska. They're relevant in, if we're talking about most improved teams and new coaching staffs, for sure. Who do I got out of FSU and LSU? Give me LSU, but I like both teams. Need to watch some UConn football games with you, Rico. Yeah, that'd be cool. I know football. Trust me. Shout out to you, Oda Smith. Trust me. Get rid of that mindset. I know football. Trust me, right? Get rid of that mindset. and then sit down and watch football with me. Sit down and listen to what I'm saying. Watch my videos. Not with a negative bias. Not with the mindset of, oh, this is wrong. Look at this is wrong. This is wrong. This is wrong. Sit down and learn. And you'll grow. You'll grow as a football fan. Colorado fans bombard this chat every day with questions like Rico is at Folsom every day. Just say your prayers and thank God Prime is your savior now. I do talk to Colorado coaching staff every single day. True story. Just want you to know. I'm not joking, but shout out to me. Oda, your mom wants the computer back. Oda, you don't know football. Facts, J-Lo. J-Lo, what are you even on this damn kid? Time to go nappy nap. Thoughts say they keep doing that false ballot. Thoughts on Texas and Alabama game? Is that the first big game? Game day game? No, the first big game day game is TCU Colorado. Texas smokes Alabama. DJ Hook'em. There we go. Seth, no. I picked Colorado 3-5 wins early on and got hammered by folks who didn't know Colorado or like Colorado prior. It was just Deion fans who didn't know college football. Semper Fi. I got them winning 4 games. I can't wait to see them playing. Is J.J. McCarthy a real Heisman contender? Like I said, no. Seth, he's getting to your question. Exactly. Okay, thanks, Colin. If I had an ops position open in my company, I would want to interview Rico. Thank you very much. Yeah, no problem. I need a job. What do you think Iowa's win-loss will be this year? Trey Seller, I owe you an answer. Come back tomorrow, and I'll answer that question. My messages are still here. Yeah. Oda, your messages are here, but your valor isn't. Neither is your credibility. Yeah. I don't shake. Thank God. Oda. Hey, you guys are all arguing. I'm going to skip all this. J-Lo, you know what you have blessed because, yeah, your mommy is calling you. Reggie Bush is definitely top 3 running backs. I don't know what that means. Oh, best running backs of all time? Reggie Bush? Yeah. We're shaking in our boots. Why am I reading in the chat? What am I reading in the chat? I don't know, Ruben Rust. I don't know what I'm reading either. Maybe you'll find some valor. What you think about Missouri this year? Cooper T, I really don't think about Missouri. I think they've got an uphill battle. I don't know if Drinkwitz is on a hot seat or not, but they need to give him some time to cook. He got quarterbacks, got 3 guys trying to figure it out. Sam Horn, Brady Cook, Jake Garcia. Luther Burden better figure it out. Supposed to be a stud. He's not. But, yeah, Missouri had a great defense, great defensive front, played well. Got to get some of them upsets going. Got to have a decent season. They got to get to a bowl game again. They need a bowl game or there's going to be a problem. Oda, you fake. Herschel Walker, definitely top 2 ever. Yeah, if you're into Herschel Walker being top 2, I can respect it. I don't have him top 2, but I can respect it. He's top 5. Look at his numbers. His numbers are insane, but I don't have him top 2. Not me personally, no. J-Lo, please stop in case he is military error inside of caution. He isn't. If you know, you know. Be a bigger man, sir. Herschel was top 1 for the Cowboys that got them 3 championships. I made a video on that, greatest trade of all time. You guys should look into it. I did a whole history lesson on that thing. So you guys should look into it. 1 second. Chat just jumped on me. Yeah, no, I don't shake. We're shaking. What am I reading in this chat? Be a bigger man. Rico, thoughts on Oda Smith? I'll wait. Yeah, none at all. None at all. Oda Smith is dense. Shout out to Willie Bobo. Thanks for being here. My whole family's military, so I asked nicely, sir. East Hartford, Connecticut. Go, baby blue. What up? Slap happy. You don't see my pick. I don't claim false nothing. All right. All right. Coach, if you can predict who will be the number 1 pick next year and who would it be, it's just going to be Caleb Williams. Doesn't matter. If game day ever comes to Connecticut, I'm going and bringing a poster, no cap. Thank you, Colin. I appreciate you. I asked him to stop, so you too, please. Sadly, they don't know what's up in Connecticut. Yeah, there's no real reason for them to go up there. I'll put up a sign on game day for merch. Make it worth it. DJ Texas 500, I ain't giving you no merch. You go buy it. This country is very grateful. If you put it up, if I see somebody put up a sign, I will hook you up with merch. I won't give it to you beforehand. I'll give it to you after. Merch of your choice. But you got to go to game day and put a sign up that says hashtag Rico Knows. USC Trojans fight on. How come I can't see the questions he's answering? Because you're not scrolling all the way up, Seth Weaver. It's live chat. I will get to it. What's the most underrated state for recruiting? The most underrated, I would probably say Alabama. Alabama or Louisiana, they don't get talked about enough. They're both, I think Alabama's 5th in producing NFL football players, and Louisiana's 6th. 5th and 6th in the state, just ahead of Ohio, just behind North Carolina. And, I respect both those states in their recruiting. So give me Louisiana and Alabama. Not respected enough. How do you spell your bros channel? Marantz, Rantz. There it is. Marantz Rants. Willie Bubble just wrote it. Number 2 team by Rico. Go figure, Trojans. Go figure, Slap Happy. Willie Bobo, thanks. Opinions on Jaden Davis? None. UCLA, you clowns lost again. Okay, there you go. The U.S. is up on Mexico 1-0. Uh-oh. Shout out to Mexico. Keep losing. Let's go, Aramis. Yo, how do you watch? Gotta be ESPN Plus, Colin. Oh, damn. Rico Knows at game day events. Let's go. Let's do it. I found some Spanish things, so whatever. What do you think about the Golden Gophers? I talked about them earlier. Go ahead and watch the podcast over. Scroll back. I already talked about them. I'll be here in November. I ain't going nowhere. Maybe you'll be grown up by then. Okay, where did you find it, Colin? Paramount Plus. Do you think Elijah Brown is a product of the team around him? I played against Bryce Young, and he was a playmaker. Brown struggled against Bosco and Gorman. So, yeah, I think he's actually pretty good. I think Elijah Brown's good. To be the starter for 4 years in a row, I just think he's good. Now, yeah, there's a good team around him, but I still think he's good. I got no beef with him. I think he's a good player. I've watched him make some throws that I can respect. He doesn't have quite the receiver talent that Bryce Young had, so I got to respect the kid for what he does. We'll see what happens. I think he's like cerebral. I think he's a team leader type dude. Do you know why McClain isn't at Colorado yet? He's there. He's already on campus. He's just waiting to get cleared medically. He's there. Damn, my brother has it, but he's sleeping. Oh, can't get this info. Oda, you're a goober. Just leave. Relax, guys. I got you. I need everybody here. All views count. Do you think Orgy will challenge McCarthy for the number 1 spot? Not a chance in hell, Rick Smith. Orgy does not ever play if McCarthy's healthy. That's not even a thing. Stop believing hype videos. Stop everybody talking about it. McCarthy beat out not just Orgy. He beat out Webb to transfer and Cade to transfer. So he's beat out 3 guys who everybody thinks are pretty good. 2 guys are starting at Power 5 schools. That's how good he is. He's making Power 5 starters transfer. Okay? That's Kirk Cousins status. Just so you know. That's what Kirk Cousins did at Michigan State. That's what JJ's doing. So don't worry about it. Rico, talk about the Pac-12's resurgence on the national scene in lieu of UCLA and USC bolting. Will Big Ten poach Oregon and dub? If they poach Oregon and Washington, the conference will dissolve, I think. Just losing Oregon is going to be the crack that breaks its back. But, they've done well. Recruiting and more recruiting. That's what they've done. They've done well in recruiting. Can we pick up on this topic tomorrow? My phone going dead. We'll keep it on the charger the whole time. Go to bed. He's playing catch-up. He's got a ways to go to get up. I'm here. What does U of SC have to improve on to become a top 25 team in your opinion? They just got to retain their talent. Believe in Shane Beamer and what he's doing. Win games. That's it. They got to utilize Mario Anderson Jr. Yeah, the new running back from Newberry. They got to do well. So shout out to them. You guys can't expect much. Just pace yourself. It's not going to happen in 1 year. Best quarterback in 2025 class right now, Clayton Smith. I don't watch 2025 football. Let me make that clear. Rico does really know. But if that's, what is that, freshmen, juniors, sophomores? Go pick one. Juju Lewis? Go pick a guy. Aaron Nolan? I don't know who. Do you think Deshaun Watson will lead the Browns to the playoffs? LMFAO, yes. Deshaun Watson to the playoffs? No. I'm going to go no. I think there's a lot of good players in the AFC. Oda, can't you see? Sometimes your words just hypnotize me. Do you think Matt Rule can take Nebraska to a top 25 team in the next 3 years? Lots of people tell me he's good, and lots of people say he's bad. So stop talking to the people that say Matt Rule is bad. Whoever's telling you he's bad, those are people you shouldn't associate with. I think he can take them to the top 25 in the next 3 years. I think Matt Rule has the recipe for success. Recruit Texas, get Texas high school coaches at your position coaches, and dominate at Nebraska with Texas recruits. That's what he's doing. That's what he's going to do. And dominate your own state. Don't lose your best players in Nebraska. But I like what he's doing. I believe in Matt Rule. I think he'll be good to go, Ruben Rust. One day NCAA will be relevant again, maybe. Okay. J-Lo, don't be corny now. J-Lo, stop it. Spirited chat tonight. Thank you guys. Appreciate everybody. The chat went crazy tonight, Steve. Hey, shout out to you for the $10, man. A lot of people don't take the time to read all the questions in the chat. Just wanted to give appreciation and time. Thank you, Ruben Rust. It's not easy, bruh, but we're here, and I'll always do it. If you write a question just once, I will reply to you. I do appreciate the money for the time. I got $12 in tips tonight. That'll pay for my dinner, man. I appreciate you. Thank you very much, brother. College football is brutal. Ricky Williams, Reggie Bush, Ron Dane, top 5 college running backs. Yeah, I don't know how anybody doesn't have Ricky Williams and Reggie Bush at the top. I just don't know, but that's me. Texas State outcome this season. Texas State, I love everything about them. I don't know how they're going to do on wins. I haven't looked at their schedule, but they're in the Sun Belt. They had a great transfer portal class. I love G.J. Kinney. I like who they brought in. I'm excited. They're going to be fun to watch because I want to see their growth. I don't know how many teams they're better than, but they're going to be fun to watch. We'll see what happens. They're going to win back Texas. They're going to bring back Texas. I like Texas State. I didn't see a Minnesota Vikings rating. I don't care about the Minnesota Vikings. Does Donovan Edwards outperform Corum this year? I don't think so. I think he's just slated to be a change of pace back, get his 900 yards, and call it good. I don't know. Yo, chill, Oda. I'm telling you, man, college football ain't that serious. Okay. U.S. is up 2-0. I'm catching up in comments. Everybody relax. It ain't about football anymore, man. J-Lo crossed the line. He should have never crossed the line. Relax. Thoughts on Georgia State's team and the quarterback? Granger's real, bro. They had a transfer come in from Memphis last year. He's already back in the portal again. Brown. He won 2 state titles at Zachary in high school, and he got to Georgia State and thought he could be the starting quarterback. He couldn't, man. Georgia State has a real quarterback, so I like Georgia State as a team. They just need to keep more talented players in the state of Georgia, not lose to Georgia Southern in recruiting battles, and I like what they're doing. Can't lose Jamari Thrash to Louisville, but I understand. It happens sometimes. But I like Georgia State. I like all the local teams around here, guys. I support them completely. Thanks, Rico. Great content as always. I'm about to cop a hoodie. Get a hoodie, bruh. Don't forget to check out RicoKnows.org for your merch, and you guys will do it. I appreciate you, Prod. That'll be cool, man. Change your profile pic to a Rico Knows hoodie. That'll be legit. You guys start rocking that. Come out to Georgia. High school football, it's the best in USA. I think it's pretty damn good, yes. You think Texas State can beat Sam Houston? They bringing back that old rivalry. I don't think they can beat Houston this year. Houston's loaded, but I like Texas State. Get that rivalry going. Sam Houston looks good, though. What wide receiver is the playmaker on U of M this year? I owe you an answer. Because I want to be accurate. I owe you an answer. Come back and ask me tomorrow. Best quarterback in Georgia. Give me Juju Lewis. All right, guys. I appreciate you guys. Thank you guys for being here. Hey, it's real simple, guys. You can talk sports with your friends. They're not going to know the answer to everything. But Rico knows.
I do this for my father, who I've only seen from time to time in my dreams. I do this for you. I do this for my mother, who's finally clean and no longer a fan. I do this for you. I do this for my sister, my wife and my kids, cause they part of the team. I do this for all the naysayers and haters who made me one of the greatest. I know it kills you inside, that's why I do this for you. I do this for my father, who I've only seen from time to time in my dreams. I do this for you. I do this for my mother, who's finally clean and no longer a fan. I do this for you. I do this for my sister, my wife and my kids, cause they part of the team. I do this for all the naysayers and haters who made me one of the greatest. I know it kills you inside, that's why I do this for you.
I do this for the kids who sit a bit outside the mix, who maybe cope through humor just to fit in for a bit, who never let the world know when depression's setting in. To all of those who know you, that impression don't exist, and it ain't counterfeit, it's just a way to counter it. I'm living things I dreamed about, I still encounter it. It ain't something that a cigarette or alcohol can fix, but all because of it, I flipped it quick, went on to write some hits. This a success, off another breath. This the first step in searching to be nothing less than be the best in what you do to prove their strength in being you. Learn so much in chasing dreams that I never would in school. Depends on where your passion lie, just no passion never lie. Life presents distractions, but your actions have to fortify. The things that you believe in have to scream it like a battle cry, and leave the ones who didn't looking stupid while they're asking why. Couldn't lie, I really do this for the ones I love, Those who treat the music as a vice and lyrics like a drug. Those who need advice on how to lift their spirit high enough to break out of the box they make of lives they know aren't good enough. Just because it's how it is don't mean it's how it has to be. This is what the uninspired testifiers fail to see. Jealousy results from being that which others fail to be. And if it means you're not with me, that honestly sounds fair to me.
I do this for my father, who I've only seen from time to time in my dreams. I do this for you. I do this for my mother, who's finally clean, no longer a fan. I do this for you. I do this for my sister, my wife and my kids, cause they part of the team. I do this for all the naysayers and haters who made me one of the greatest. I know it kills you inside, that's why I do this for you.
Do this for my mother, she'll be working for the summer. Do this for my father, cause these days I often wonder what my life would have been like if I was not adopted. To grow up in a home where I was treated like a problem. I don't know, it's just a guess. Your guess probably good as mine. Lucky that I grew up in a home that wanted me to shine. Lucky that I grew up around some mountains we were taught to climb. Without that inspiration, I don't think that this would be my life. Do this for my friends who've scattered all across the country now. I'm out in Sweden walking back through life so I can write it down. Make a living off the sound, so crazy to say out loud. I'm the biggest thing since Travis Rice to come up out the town. Sorry, gotta stunt a little. Used to have my dreams belittled, but it's all a part of it. I know people's minds are fickle, lines between reality and dreams I blur like faded nights. Come up been so good for me, I wish that I could make it twice.
I do this for my father, who I've only seen from time to time in my dreams. I do this for you. I do this for my mother, who's finally clean, no longer a fan. I do this for you.